Yeah, I figured I'd wait and talk to Rob, because that's an exterior improvement on the town hall that we would be responsible for.
It should be live.
In Onaglen, not the condos, the houses.
On by the town.
Oh, okay.
So either way.
Yes.
Okay.
Left. And now I'm like.
Because the way our lovely bylaws are written, it's responsible for the
Okay,
exterior.
so you're in Natalia.
So,
Okay.
if it's going right or something
Are you?
goes terribly wrong.
We're not.
Okay.
A lot of things.
And then, we just signed up with Goodrich.
How does that
Hopefully
not,
not
what were
Carolina.
the, like, decks that they put
No, I don't
though?
think they answered the phone.
Were we
Oh,
texting?
And, you know what we did?
Not
is-
attached.
Okay.
It all worked out that we were,
Just like with the,
didn't have time
the
to
fences.
sign up for
They're in
it
the back.
basically, because we moved in and then
they're not attached to
the
the
kids
town.
showed up, right?
Well, we're responsible for the
Okay.
exterior of the town
In
hall,
fact, we
so to
moved
build a
in,
deck off of
remember
it.
we had the
Not
huge
an
ice
attach,
and
it's something
stuff?
extra.
That
But
was
if he was gonna
doing-
build an addition, I was like,
So,
that's
we
a
just
part
didn't have
of the
time to
structure.
get
I would
a
assume he's not
purchase
gonna build it
kit,
as a freestanding
and,
structure.
between
That'd be
this
more of a
and
Not
shed.
based on this
Thursday,
picture,
I guess,
because there's a roof
this
that
week.
attaches.
Yeah, it
Oh,
sounded
we
like
discovered
someone,
that
part
who
one.
picks up and who doesn't, because
Yeah.
everybody
Sid, what's
around
the
you with
road
garbage
that's-
piled up and
Yes.
piled up.
Yours is perpendicular to, that's like the back.
Talking about Haddington?
Yeah, Haddington just extends all the way down around.
Someone built
They're not picking
an
up your
addition on the
garbage.
back of
Yeah,
theirs.
yeah, yeah.
But it's a single family home, we're not responsible for the
Yeah.
exterior.
I mean, I didn't approve it, but
Who knows when it
I was
was
just
done,
chasing,
yeah.
oh, they were doing it like a
Then our
couple of months
neighbors.
ago, so I was chasing my dogs through the woods.
Oh, really?
That's all, that's all
Okay, so you're on
construction.
that.
Yeah, that's one of the ones. I'm gonna try to,
Okay.
Do you already have one of these, or?
Yeah, I think that's for him.
And,
I guess we can put that on there, art update, and just, we'll leave out his name, but we can talk about it just so it's. They have a video, we'll know the rules.
you know, where we're coming from. Let me get myself somewhat organized, and then I start going in different directions here.
Ellen, you might know this, or anyone except me knows this, how do you get it where it has like the ruler thing up here, so I can change the tabs? Do you know what that's under?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
Is it Excel?
yeah, no,
No,
it's
it's a Word.
just a Word document. That one.
What about that? What about the
I
ruler?
didn't know.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, just get rid of that, and drag this back
That's
over
okay.
to the normal position. Alright, we're in business. Perfect, thanks.
Yeah. We
I'm
had
just gonna stop doing this by hand, so I don't have to try to rewrite it or remember everything.
the dryer
I
vest.
don't know if everybody heard it, we are
So they cleaned it up, you
live
know.
on
Oh,
our
okay.
recording, so
So we went around afterwards to make sure that it was
No, I've
done.
gotten-
We couldn't find it, we still haven't found it.
I've gotten
Where'd the
Virginia
dryer
before.
vest?
Oh, I know.
Quit saying bad things about your neighbors, Ellie.
That's right.
I've never said anything bad about my neighbors.
You deny that now. Lie.
I've never,
We haven't
I'm
found
sorry,
it.
I've always been a very
But they said
calm,
that you
pleasant.
You say bad things about me all the time.
That
I don't know
doesn't
what you're
count.
talking about.
Yeah.
How you get there, and
Anybody ever
there's
post
not
on that
much space.
Site TV?
I've not seen any activity on it. I was like, well, I guess it's kind of interesting how that's gonna work.
And you
So I was
came
like,
down
you know, let's see how this thing works.
Yeah, my friend lived here.
And I haven't seen, I've seen people join it,
for- Yeah.
and I made a couple people moderators so I could see how that
Yeah.
worked.
It's not cheaper too.
And I was like, you know, maybe this would be an easier avenue because they can feel like they can kind of talk
Yeah,
amongst
it's
yourselves
so fun.
basically and not getting much activity on there. So, but I mean, it's not costing me nothing to turn it on and just see how it works.
It's like every year, it's like someone runs from townhouses.
What's that?
Every year, someone please run from townhouses together. So,
Yeah, is anybody at all?
I mean, I
I think if I lived there, everyone would be responsible. You're the one that everyone is
Oh,
gonna
well,
go straight to.
I've had that second before. People are like, you know, the only problem is if I do it.
What do we do here at the meeting?
Virginia's. Oh, she's back. Hey.
Need an extra 2 hours
Okay,
in
thank
every
you.
day and then 1 extra day a week. Somebody
Yes.
arrange that, please.
You want me to talk about, you should just all be.
He can do it. I'll start believing in him. He can do it. I can tell you that right now. I'm a big believer on performance.
We video them, we provide them to people.
I mean, I could put this whole thing in there, or just talked about right and stuff.
If you already mowed.
Yeah, I mean, if you make a
that's
motion or
fine.
something,
That's
but if
fine.
it's just general landscape discussion, I think discuss landscape. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Give me just a
It
second,
is.
guys. I'm just gonna make sure
Makes
that's just shared out to
Well,
everybody.
you know, we'll
knows.
see.
Once you've seen it a couple of times for about 4
Because I
years,
read
you know, it
something
makes
in the
sense.
bylaw that said something. landscape.
Oh, Virginia.
So it's gonna be a couple more, couple more minutes, couple more years.
Sidewalk.
Okay.
Well, that's just a quick notice of it. That's HOA,
Is the vest to hide the firearm, or is it to intimidate the witness when you're interrogating?
A little bit of everything. Depends on the situation. I don't know. How does it make you feel?
I feel a little intimidated.
Let's see.
Night Riders.
That was
It did sound like that.
Bob
Yeah,
O'Reilly.
have a seat. Come
Oh,
join us.
okay. Sound like a Night Rider.
Here, sure.
It was, I was thinking about that right.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was.
it does sound a little bit like Night Rider.
Did.
2018 budget is what we're talking about a little bit. See, I was on it. I brought extra copies, just in case.
I call it TJ complaint. I don't know why.
Everybody does, well, that's because if you listen to the lyrics, it
That's
sounds
kind
like
of
it might be called
yeah.
teenage
So I
wasteland.
was like,
But it's not.
if
It's
he's
Bob
like,
O'Reilly.
yeah, this would be a great
Don't say
opportunity.
anything
for
about Bob
Bob
O'Reilly, the whole,
But
the
does
whole
it
song.
I don't
That's
think
how you
you
do
either.
it.
More notice,
Debbie.
more than happy to
What's that?
actually.
Okay, so
Depending
Bob,
on how
Bob
things go
O'Reilly
over the
didn't,
next
didn't
Bob
write it.
month or so, that'd
Bob
be a good idea to
O'Reilly,
say.
nothing?
Didn't
Still
write it,
having
no,
issues.
it's just, the Who did a lot
March,
of drugs.
say, hey, you come to the March meeting,
Yeah.
explain
It's
yourself.
a great song.
I'm sure there's reasons for some stuff, and then other stuff, it might be like,
So it's all-
I didn't know that was really a
Feet down
problem.
the road.
Right.
So yes, these are probably.
Fair, fair.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. First and foremost, let's get this out of the way real quickly. This is a copy of the 2018 member satisfaction report provided by AMG to
Is
us.
that the one that you mailed out?
Do we want to read this?
Yeah, did we?
The members did it.
Everybody should have got it, but just in case you missed it or something, I actually meant to bring it up in the past.
Reporting night.
This is provided to the board to give us an idea of a whole bunch of percentages of stuff and
Oh,
everything.
yes.
How many respondents were there? Where's that?
And AMG is the management company.
Yes, Association Management Group is our management company, which Ashley is a representative of tonight. She's our manager that helps out with our community. One thing, start off by talking about Association Management Group. So we brought Association Management Group on 2015, is that right? Something like that?
Correct, yeah, when we took over from the,
We
no,
took over in 2013 and we held on to, maybe it's 2014. we
it
brought
was
in, yeah.
next year.
Because we kept our former management company for 1 year, and from there, we brought in Association Management Group. We looked at multiple management companies that were available. We took different bids, we had meetings with them, and the board at that time decided Association Management Group would be our community management company. Now, one of the things we did, because we had so many issues with Hawthorne, was we severely restricted their ability to do anything crazy. And we've kind of loosened the reins a little bit as time's gone by to give them a little more ability to function and everything. But I think back in the day, Hawthorne could spend like a couple $1,000s without even consulting us, and they didn't have to really touch base with us on anything. They just do pretty much whatever they wanted or didn't want to. Association Management Group doesn't have that. Within the contract, we've got a lot more control over them. They don't have as much ability. It kind of impedes Ashley at times where she's like, I could make a decision on this easily for my other communities, but with Almond Glen, I'm supposed to check. So one of the reasons we do that is so that they don't get blamed for everything. Generally speaking, if somebody doesn't like something, it's because the board decided to do it. And if Association Management Group is passing on a message, it's really just, hey, I checked with the board, this is what they said, or they're waiting for feedback from us. The only things that we try to keep an eye on are when somebody contacts the management company and gives them some information, how fast does that information get to the board? Which generally speaking, when we secretly check her with our secret shoppers, that we have people send a message or something, it's generally about a day or two, we get the information. She doesn't even know when we're testing her or anything like that. Any request could be coming from the board, and we've just asked somebody, hey, do me a favor and blind copy me or something like that. So we've never had any issues come up like that. A lot of times it's perception. So do you have any idea what the number of respondents was on this? Do we?
I don't know, I usually do this as.
I don't think it actually says in here. I know the part that's always helpful is in the back, we get the people who are not happy as comment cards who actually took time to write in, which I mean, generally speaking, that's gonna be your ones you care about anyways, because I fill out one of these every year and I just write on there, hey, you guys doing a great job. So this person says, why can't we pay our HOA dues locally? You can. This will surprise you. AMG's office is about a minute from here, right here. Yeah. It's one of the reasons we chose Association Management Group is because they are a 5 to 10 minute drive from our neighborhood. So you can. What is the address for Association Management Group's office?
211 Pine Street.
211 Pine Street.
Main Street.
Or Main Street, yeah. 211 Main Street in Pineville. So you can pay your dues locally. This person, have you made any requests to AMG in the past 12 months? No, they've not. This person wants to know, why do I have to pay for a swimming pool since I have never used it? Why don't we lower the HOA fees for those who use, or lower the HOA fees and those who use the pool pay an annual fee? Because you signed a contract that said you would pay the dues just like everybody else. That's the answer. Have you made any requests? That's not an answer. It says, are there any issues like bring attention? Mowing and the landscaping areas on Kilchurn, both areas are an eyesore, so we'll address.
Those have been taken.
That
care
was
of.
that was the old houses that we
Right,
now
the old
sold.
house, yeah, those lots actually have been maintained pretty well for the last 3 or
Since
4
they've been
months, I
sold,
guess,
yeah.
yeah.
Can't disagree. Prior to that, it was a real pain, but it's
No, it
because we had to
was.
pay extra money and we had to work out deals with U.S. Lawns to do it for free and all that. So, but that's been resolved. Have you made any requests? No. For the sake of all the dog owners, can we get a couple of pet cans? Maybe one by the pool house and another in the community.
We talked about
No,
that. No.
because it costs money to
Put-
put
empty
those
'em.
in, to have somebody empty them, maintain them.
That's right.
So the dog owners can
And
do
the
what I
dog
do.
bags.
You can buy a doggy
We
bag.
already did that.
But they leave them at the mailbox,
What's that?
but they leave them at the mailbox.
Who does?
Whoever walks their dog a lot of times.
Oh, the people who dump the bags and
They have the
everything?
bags at the mailbox.
Yep,
Oh, they
I
put them
would,
in the drain.
I would,
Or they dump them
try
in
to
the
catch
drain.
them,
They
yeah.
do.
They throw them in the
Clog
drain
them
all
up.
the time.
Yeah, the drains are the big problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that would be changed. If you got somebody who's irresponsible enough to go around and pick up their dog poop and throw it down by there, they're not gonna suddenly become good, pet
And put 'em
owners
in the-
good
and put
neighbors
it in the
because,
can.
Yeah, we provide them with
Not
cans
that
and pay extra of the money we
They're gonna
don't
just
have.
keep throwing them at the
Mhm.
mailboxes.
Have you made any requests to Angie? Yes. Has the matter been resolved? And it said yes. And then they said, during the summer season, they need treatment for mosquitoes in the town-owned backyards. I don't know how we would ever keep the mosquitoes down in South Carolina. And then they say, how about ants every 3 months? And really, that's just a matter, do we even include any of that stuff in, it's not in our contract, right? So we have to pay more money. So we can, we just need to raise the dues. 'Cause
Well,
we
I
need money.
think, from the ant perspective, I think they have a point. If they can control the ants in the townhomes, then they won't spread to some of the other yards as well. It'd at least be worth talking to the landscape company and find out what it costs to do an ant treatment.
Or just
Part of
Like
the
at the beginning of the
problem we run
season
into-
and middle of the season.
They,
Go
I
ahead.
think
they
part of the
actually
problem we run
don't do
into
any
is-
of that.
They
We'd
don't
have-
do
no.
Just get your little container and take your spoon out and shake it.
We'd have to find another vendor.
Yeah, unfortunately, then you're responsible for poisoning somebody's dog. Now,
Right.
Well, not to mention, we go through and we spend however much money to put ant treatment out, and then your neighbor is a pig and has a dirty house that attracts ants into it, and it's just, that's
Well, we're talking about,
individual.
they're talking
Yeah, it's
about
fire
fire ants,
ants
yeah,
in
that's,
this case,
yeah,
but
that's a different story.
Now we do some treatments around the pool area every year. That's a big thing. We try to keep the fire ants down, but that's because we've got kids running around in barefoot around the common area up there.
You might check
Who's
with the
doing
pest
that?
control company and find out what they would charge to do ant control. I mean, it's worth at least getting a cost. And then we can say we at least checked it.
This one says, have you made any requests? No. It says tree and shrub trimming hasn't been done. Leaves are blown into our yard, not out. And that's just another complaint about, again, landscaping, which we're talking about landscaping. We have certain times when the trees are trimmed and the shrubs are trimmed. And I know sometimes people are like, they haven't been trimmed in a while. It's like, because they're due to be trimmed in 1 month from now or 2 months from now. That's built in our contract. We can talk about that with landscaping. Lawn care has been something, but it could be better. I guess they're trying to say it's been a little bit better, but it could be better. People are mowing more often. I think this is talking about the neighborhood in general. I don't think this is townhomes. They're talking about, they wish we would do more about lawn care, which we've started doing more with enforcement towards the end of the year. The great You Must Pressure Your Wash or Home debacle of 2018. Weed control and fertilization of the lawn at the main entrance around the pool area, and that's more back to landscaping, which has been another vendor battle that we're trying to work out. And then this one's talking about just the neighborhood in general. This is, my lawns are in bad shape. There was a truck
Mini,
with a flat tire. parked-
mini lawn, mini
yeah,
lawns.
mini lawns, yeah, sorry. Mini lawns are in bad shape. There was a truck with a flat tire parked on the street for 2 months. I finally went over and asked them to move it. Congratulations.
Solve the
You
problem.
did a good job. You knocked on the door. We have no power for the millionth time. We have zero power over what goes on the streets. You need to call. I remember talking with this person. I was like, why don't you call the sheriff's office? And he's like, that's what you should do. Like, no, I'm not really required to do that. Not to mention, they really don't like it when I involve myself in their police matters. I've tried to express that to people, that you have to deal with your own streets.
The streets are county.
Yeah, I just don't have any authority over them. That is county owned, and you have to call the sheriff's office or whoever, if dogs are running around, you have to call pet control or somebody like that. So that is the membership satisfaction report. I just want to make sure to address that, make sure that we talked about it. Let's knock out some landscaping stuff, so we can discuss that, because I'm sure there'll be a few questions. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members in attendance, which is awesome. I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Landscaping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about.
What you want to talk about, Ellie?
Yeah, so over the last couple of months, I think we've kind of had some issues with finalizing all the areas in the townhomes that are supposed to be included. The original map that I got wasn't actually an accurate map. So, I did review everything with Jason. We've kind of finalized everything. We had a really big issue with the pine needles. I know that's kind of been an ongoing thing, pine needles not getting completed. Originally, the amount of pine needles that were included in the contract was not enough to cover all of the townhome areas and the common areas. Plus, they weren't able to complete them all at once, and it's mainly because they're completely understaffed. So I think that they kind of took on this contract not being fully capable of handling it all in one shot, doing all the pine needles at once or mowing all the areas at once. Another thing that also happened is, we've had a lot of rain this year, so there have been days where they've tried to come in like on a Tuesday and do an hour worth of work, and then come in on Thursday and do some work over here, and that wasn't communicated with me. So there was a lot of miscommunication between me and the owner, and that's something that I did talk to him about, just having better communication so that we're all on the same page. One thing is, a lot of the complaints that I got was mainly because just some areas were mowed and edged, over like a 2-week period of time. It wasn't all done in one complete shot. So I would get, an email, hey, they did this area, but they didn't do my area. I was told that the entire property was finished. The owner would call me later, tell me, no, that's actually not true. Him and his guys aren't communicating well with each other. Not that this really, should be an excuse, but the owner's mother did have a stroke and she's in hospice right now. So I think there's a lot going on with him personally, and he just doesn't have the staff, to really give us the service that we expected. He has, however, hired some new staff members. And he I personally want to give him another shot. Our conversations have always been, I feel like he's been truthful with me, and I think he'll do good this upcoming year. The only other option would be to find another vendor and give them a try.
When does our contract expire with them?
We can, anytime, we just have to give them a 30-day notice.
I agree.
But-
We haven't seen them for a full season yet. It
But-
might be worth giving them a shot.
The other thing is, so with all this miscommunication and they don't have enough staff to provide the service, they have performed a lot of services for free. You know, they've given us over 500 bales of pine needles at no cost. They've, you know, come in last week and cleaned up all the trash that was blowing everywhere because the garbage wasn't picked up. You know, they've also removed a tree or two at no additional cost, just out of, you know, the pure fact that they've inconvenienced us, you know, over the past couple of months. So I think that's a nice gesture of them that they're doing those things for free. And of course, there was that tree that just fell by the dumpster area, which is gonna be removed tomorrow. But go ahead, Sid, you were gonna
No,
add something to that.
I don't know if it's worth pursuing another landscape contract now. But I think they need to be aware of the fact that they're on probation. That if service doesn't improve in the first half of this year, that we're gonna have to reconsider the contract and go somewhere else.
But then you got the other flip side of that, is that everybody is complaining, and you wanna go through email after email after email when the spring starts, when summer gets here. I mean, do you wanna go through that with, we already got an issue with trash. Do you wanna go through another issue with the landscape?
Well, but I also think with the landscaping, it's rained a lot, so, you know, it's not good for them to come out and try to mow wet grass,
Well,
you know, so, and I get it. They're-
yeah, they got a job to do,
Complain.
there's no excuse, I'm sorry.
Well, I don't want them to tear up the sod and go ripping
Right.
through there if the
They're
ground is
not,
saturated.
but the thing about it is, they have to do, when it's not raining, they have to do what they're supposed to do when they say they're gonna do it.
Right.
If not, then it all falls back on us.
So do you have an
Right,
alternative
which is-
person,
yeah.
company?
So-
No, not yet.
So
We
I
can
mean,
go-
I can
Haven't
start
done.
looking, yeah,
Yeah,
most
But
definitely.
there's 1,001 landscaping companies, I think that you probably wanna start looking, let them have their little 30 days and see what they're gonna do, but start looking for a backup.
When does
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's hard to predict. When does the mowing season
March.
kick in?
March.
Like
First,
that's
well,
usually-
for me, it doesn't start until late April because I've got Bermuda grass and it doesn't
Right.
green up until then, but the other stuff will start middle March,
Well, see, right.
around the St. Patrick's Day.
The issue is, they couldn't even do the whole thing at one time.
Right,
Yeah, so then if you come back next March and they can't do the whole thing at one time, you're still in the same boat, so.
right. But I will say that he has hired more staff, so I'm optimistic that things will,
Is that his,
Do we
is
know
that
where
his
that's
plan?
at now?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that his plan going
Exactly.
forward? Like he says, I've hired enough staff
Oh,
and
yes.
now I'll be able to knock this
Yes.
out. We've got the equipment, or is he, you know? 'Cause I mean, honestly, the first time they mow will be kind of an easy test. To be like, okay, today's mowing day, right? And everything should be mowed and trimmed
Right.
that day. If that's
right.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, you let them go on through
Mhm.
March, and then if whatever hits the fan in March, they gotta go.
well, the
I
good
mean, this-
Yeah.
yeah.
the good
You see what
side of
I'm
it
saying?
is our next board meeting is March the 11th.
Exactly.
Yeah, it
So-
won't be time.
No, it won't be
Yeah,
enough.
they wouldn't
Well-
wait
Probably
until
not,
Friday.
but-
What I was gonna say is, and we talked about it tonight, I had asked her, with everything we had going on, I was prepping for this meeting today. I hit Ellie up and I was like, hey, do you wanna see if the owner or somebody wants to come out and speak on behalf of the landscaping company so that they can, in their own words, tell us what she's telling us?
Right.
It was an extremely last minute notice to
Right.
say, hey, can you make it to a meeting tonight? So I
Right.
didn't expect it. She did say, he was like, hey, look, if I just had a little bit of time. So I say, we get
Let him
somebody in
address
here
us in
March
March.
11th
Yeah,
Right.
to
Good
tell
idea.
us, because we should be starting in the mowing season, might be a little rainy, might be
Right.
a little bit. So March 11th, he should be
Yeah.
able to sit in here and look everybody on the board in the face and say, this is what I'm prepared to do.
And maybe it'll get his attention about it too and have him
Exactly.
focused on it.
Might be
Right.
easy
Yeah.
too, so we can say, look, this is your 30-day window, like it's.
Yeah.
Right,
You're on,
it-
you're
right.
It's starting now, and,
Exactly.
and we should see an improved communication. Ellie should be able to easily, she's got access to go on the
Exactly.
Facebook page stuff. She should be able to easily go on and say, hey, just to let you know, they contacted me today. It's been raining for the last 4 days. They're gonna wait for it to dry out, so people can go, oh, okay, I heard that they're gonna hold off. So at least when, you know, man, I haven't mowed this grass. The other day can go, oh yeah, I saw on Facebook. They're waiting
True.
for it, you know, that's why you notice this rain, we're standing here holding umbrellas or something. So how about on March 11th, we ask him to be here to speak as to his plan? Would that be-
Will they be planting grass?
What's that?
Will they be planting grass?
If we wanna pay for that, that's
Because
what,
the tree in the front yard has taken over my grass. I have none. I see the roots of the tree.
okay. So obviously overseeding is the question, which again, I mean, unless we've got, do we have overseeding in the contract?
No, we
I
don't.
don't think so. So we'd have to look at that as a landscaping.
As a landscape project.
Yep.
Well, if the root struck, we would need to put soil down too, so it's gonna be bigger than just overseeding.
And some trees have shallow roots, so it might just be that kind of tree.
It's those trees.
What kind of
they
tree is
planted.
it? Do you know?
It's the tree they planted in front of all.
Maybe.
Red maple, that's not
Yeah.
shallow root.
No, that's just a tree that's growing probably. Bushes
Mount-
that died in front of the townhomes, you put that on here? You
I
did?
did, so, Jason, who's the owner of the company, drove around the townhome areas, because we did have a few townhome owners whose shrubs were either completely dead or they were pulled out at some point and never replaced. So, he talked about replacing all of those, which there would be 23 that needed to be replaced.
We have, I'm sorry, Ellie, I didn't
Yeah,
mean to
you're
interrupt. $2350 in next year's budget, $2,350 for aerating and reseeding.
So there you go. So that's good. So it's already budgeted for.
Okay, go ahead.
If it's
So that'd
necessary.
be
If it's
very
necessary.
necessary, seeding grass and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
So, number one, I didn't, did we ever clarify whether that's something that,
Well, obviously okay, so what the governing documents say is that we will maintain I'm trying to think of the wording they use in there, but basically the plants and stuff like that, the landscaping around the townhomes. Where that runs into a little thing, years ago when we were first looking at the problem with it, when they first put those townhomes in, they threw a whole bunch of beautiful plants in there to make everything look great, knowing that they weren't gonna survive. Any of our landscapers looked at them and were like, yeah, they're not gonna live, there's too much fighting for stuff here. So some of the plants were gonna die off. So maintaining, you can look at it two ways. You can go, well, maintaining means I had this plant here and I want that exact plant back, or maintaining could be, I had a plant here and we can put some kind of plant there to fill that space, or it could be, yeah, you've gotta let this thin out a little bit. So it depends on what the landscapers are looking at when you look at it. So you can't look at every single townhome and go, well, this one should have 2 plants, 1 flower, so, we're responsible for making sure that those are replaced by the HOA, but it's depending on what's going on with it. If it just won't support a bush, there's no sense in continuously putting bushes in there that are
It
gonna
needs to
die.
be appropriate.
right,
And if
and
he
I don't
looks and he
remember
says that
specifically,
this would be-
he did recommend, a specific type that would actually,
Like a boxwood style or something like that, or more of a-
no,
Dana's in.
I'm gonna text him really quick.
Now, how much do we have for projects for landscaping?
I will tell you momentarily, sir.
I'm sitting there looking at the budget, I don't see.
We have $8,840 for tree trimming and removal. We have $1,200 for shrub replacement. We have $8,500 for flowers, or whatever else we want to spend that on. And we have $2,350 for aerating and reseeding. $20,890 total for landscape projects. That is over and above the $29,000 that we have scheduled for landscape contract.
So you got like 1,200 and something, like 1,200 for shrubs.
Shrubs, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So just-
We've got, between the contracts and projects, we've got $50,000 for
So if he's
landscape.
identified 23 bushes that need replaced, he probably needs to go through and say, okay, what you really need is this, and this is what $1,200 will get you.
Right. I just texted him, hope he didn't shoot me back
No
a
worries.
text, but, the other thing is, and I think the reason that, so there is one of the fences behind, one of the townhomes that's on Harrisburg Road is actually leaning in, because I think there's a tree right out there that had fallen, that they've already removed. So I need to find somebody that can,
To fix the fence,
to fix the fence.
AMG can take care of that.
Okay,
She can put it on a work order and get that taken care of.
I'll, send you the address.
It's behind my townhouse.
And then the,
2805?
Well, it's 28, the one next to me on the end, it's right in her backyard and I'm next to her.
Right, and Linda's, right?
And Linda
Yeah.
also sits on the end.
Yeah.
There you go, right in behind that.
It's right behind, it's right on Harrisburg, right
Mhm.
there.
So it's 2805, what's, is it, what's this?
Burke Hill.
Burke Hill, I was trying to think of the name of the street right there. So back in behind there.
So another thing is the leaf removal. I did not even think about that originally, because that's not part of the contract. So they did perform, a majority of the leaf removal at no cost. And once again, because that was not in our contracts, that was another thing that was done, over a period of probably 4 weeks. One small area here, one small area there. And they also actually did remove a lot of tree limbs that fell. So, their trucks were pretty full, which I think is part of the reason that they had to continuously come back. But that is all completed now. But for next year, we're gonna be looking at about $2,800 for the leaf removal.
Is that included in the US lawn one?
I don't know.
And they had to get picked up somehow. No one else would have.
It probably was. I don't remember, but I know they got picked up and I don't remember paying anything. But then again, they might have a la carted us on it and that's why we ran over in different areas on landscaping.
So this all seems,
Sure.
excuse me for interjecting, but all seems to be, the townhouses, right?
Yes.
Mostly, yes.
This is all, yeah, for the most part, landscaping, for the most part, is townhomes.
It revolves
And it
around the
just-
townhomes
Yeah.
and the pool,
Pool
but there's
area.
nothing at the pool besides grass.
Yeah, mow the
And
grass
flowers,
Keep
Should
flowers.
be some trees.
yes.
Yeah.
And the entrances and all of that.
Yes.
Entrances, yeah, that falls in there too.
So why didn't they put the leaves to the street and let the city pick them up? The city picks them
You don't
up.
have a city. Welcome to the county. There is no
Patrick's
city.
Skull that they pick up.
What's that?
They pick up next Thursday.
Who does?
Patrick's Skull.
Call who?
Who does?
Who did you call him?
Active waste solution.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
yours.
yeah,
yeah,
that's your,
Yeah,
that's
No,
your,
but you call
trash
somebody
company.
else and they pick up the tree stuff. All you put it to the street and they pick it up. Not true?
no, I hope
Where we are, it's all individual
trash
companies.
yeah.
So if your trash company has a thing
I'm
where
talking
they
about like
pick up-
tree branches, you were talking about blowing the leaves and all that jazz.
Yeah, there's nobody that picks that up.
So where do you put your stuff? Trash
In the
cans?
trash. Yeah, most of your, now if you have active waste, they'll pick up. Probably branches, yard waste, they probably have nowhere pickups, but yeah, there's no sweep it to the edge and the big
Yeah.
blower comes along and sucks it up. We're in a county, there's no city or nothing like that.
And so even like the townhomes, you don't put them in bags and put them in the trash can or the dumpster? or
They
whatever?
can if we can get the trash company to show up and take the trash away,
Oh, okay.
which has been the ongoing frustration, so yeah, it's around.
But the townhome owners are not responsible for those leaves. So for them to bag them up and put them on the street, they'd have to do it
They won't do it.
at their, and honestly, if I was a townhome owner, I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah, they don't.
Because they don't have to, they're not
Pay
responsible.
for that through the.
They pay for that through their dues, so it's our responsibility to get the leaves out of
And actually, what they've been doing is blowing in right in front of my door, and I have to sweep it every day, every time they come after bedtime.
Probably because they were running through doing it for free.
I get
It all
it.
makes sense
Right,
now.
I mean,
Yeah.
probably, to do.
there. 2,800
to do
for
a
leaf
quick job.
removal next year?
Sounds like you
Well,
have to eat in,
28.50.
sounds like you're gonna have to eat into your flower budget.
Yeah,
too.
we've got 8,500 for flowers and we don't.
Well, that brings me to the next one,
I was gonna ask
obviously
what happened
our,
with the flowers though, 'cause I don't know what, they all looked like someone pulled them all up and ran off with them, because they lasted
I
all
sent
of
her a
like
video
2
of
weeks.
deers eating
Yes.
them. We did one time, just to counter my deer theory, because we've always watched deer do it. One time I was looking at some video up at the pool and there were some kids who walked up and started picking the flowers out front and I said it to her, she's like, what the heck? So,
You've got any thorns on them?
yeah, that's what, yeah.
Yeah, no
Rose
kidding.
bush. That's why we have rose bushes along
Yeah.
the main drive.
but so, I mean, if animals are coming in and eating the flowers, then I really don't see the purpose of spending the money on flowers next fall.
No, as long as we can do something that's attractive, because,
Yeah, like
because that,
cabbage, that's
that
the animals
does,
don't eat cabbage.
from the standpoint of a
The
homeowner,
decorative cabbage.
if I'm putting my house on the market, I want the approaches to the home to look good. Now, it doesn't mean it has to be flowers, but it has to be something appropriate, something that's classy. It shouldn't just be bare ground or half
How about
maintained
more,
flower beds.
how about more pine needles?
More pine needles would
But
be
there's
fine.
decorative grasses. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
like not pampas, because that gets out. the purple grasses and the red, different decorative grasses that are out, they look beautiful.
If
Sure,
it can
we
be,
could-
if it can be done within an adjusted budget. I know one time we had, turned out it was some sort of a potato. It was a nice green vine. The reason I know it's potatoes because the
Oh,
workers that
I
came
know what
through,
you're
they
talking
collected
about.
all the
It is
potatoes.
potato vine and they make cabbage vine.
Yeah, they ate all the potatoes.
We might ask them for, as a matter of fact, ask him when he comes to us and talks to us in March, to give us some alternative ideas
Yeah.
on those front areas that doesn't involve perennials, that type of thing. So if you,
That
yeah,
animals won't eat.
yeah, you might ask him to give us a proposal on that.
But if he can't make it, then he needs to have somebody in charge second.
What's that?
If he can't make the next board meeting, then he needs to have a second man or lady.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'll have somebody here.
Some sort
Yeah.
of a rep will be here, yeah.
We're
So
spending,
that
we're
at
spending
least they
50
can
grand a year with these
communicate.
guys. They'll come.
Yeah, they,
Yeah.
especially since it grown their business, it sounds like.
But yeah, we need to have, they need to be here in March so we can talk with them.
Tree by the old dumpster?
Yeah, so that tree fell, so there are actually 19 dead trees all around the front entrances and in between the two entrances that need to be removed. One fell by the dumpster the other day,
How
and
big
like
are these trees?
Yeah, why do they need to be removed? The ones that are in like the wooded area there?
Yeah, where's the dumpster?
right in front.
It's not there
No,
anymore.
it's
It's not
where,
there
It used to
It
be
used to
before
be
we
there.
changed
Right behind
trash
the-
services.
When you, the way the townhomes, when you're going up through the townhomes, that little first exit that goes left and behind the
The
townhomes,
sign that says
there's,
coming
there's
soon.
a parking area there. Used to be, that's where the dumpster was.
When
Everybody.
you first come in,
It's not there
No.
now. It's not there now.
No, when you're leaving, when you're going out through the townhomes to the left right there. But there's no
Parking spots
dumpster there
now.
anymore because we went to individual trash pickup, because the dumpster was a nightmare as
Yes,
well.
it was. It's even worse than what we got.
hopefully
Glad
it'll
to
be
hear
a
that.
better 2019.
So we're making marginal improvements.
It'll get there.
Yeah, so that, it would be worth having him give us a proposal. 19 trees, do we know how big they are?
I mean, they're the ones, I mean, you can walk out there and see the ones that are dead and about to fall, and I think the main concern is that they're gonna, if they do fall, there's a possibility that they can fall on top of the fence facing the townhomes. So,
Our fence or somebody else's fence?
no, our fence.
Okay. As long as it's our fence, it's a risk. I'm like, okay, we can relax. If it's somebody else's fence, I'm like, we gotta do something immediately.
Yeah, no, it's the ones right, the ones that are right on Harrisburg Road in between the two entrances
Okay.
where the townhomes are.
All right.
So, you know, originally he gave me the quote for also trimming the 176 trees that haven't been trimmed in I don't know how many years, but that definitely needed, because a lot of the branches on those trees are getting really close to the townhomes. And a lot of the windows, and if there's an ice storm, there could be some damage done to the townhomes, so we want to eliminate that. So the pricing for the 176 trees to be trimmed and then the 19 to be removed would be $8,840,
We got that in the budget.
which is normally a $14,000 job, but I have not reached out to any other companies so that I can get a secondary quote to find out if that's actually,
I think we have a responsibility to at least poll 2 other quotes just to compare.
Yeah.
Yeah, for something that big. I mean, if it was $800, I'd say the heck with it.
You might get somebody else who comes in and goes, I'd do that for $8,000, just to
Right.
undercut once we come back at them. They come in.
And this
True.
is additional work. It's not something we're contracted to
Right.
him to do anyway.
No.
So, yeah, it'd be worth getting somebody. Again, we've got 8840. We've got that number in the budget for next year.
So-
If we get done cheaper, that's great.
but so the majority of that money is going towards trimming those trees.
Right.
So we could actually remove 11 of the ones that could potentially fall for 1,400, right,
Yeah.
1,450.
Or I've got
I
a
think if-
chainsaw and I'll go cut them all.
I think if we're,
Oh, that's a great
I'll come
idea. I'm sure Anthony would love to help you with that.
Let's go cut some trees.
I think if we're in for a penny, we're in for a pound, especially since from past history, we're discussing it, and if we're discussing it, it's a matter of record that we're discussing it, so we need to, if we know it could be a problem, we need to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fallen trees, I've worked in the tree business all my college career. Fallen trees are a liability that you don't have to
When do
deal
you
with.
graduate, by the way?
What's that?
When do you graduate from college, by the way?
Whenever I graduate.
So working on that.
I ran a tree
Any
business
day
for 4
now.
years, so I do know
Five-year
trees.
plan?
And those are a liability that you don't want to deal with. If you're aware of them and you ignore that, then you become liable for this.
That's right, for anything that hits.
So we need.
So
to do
out of the
that.
19, 11 are ones that could really potentially fall to,
Yeah, they need to come down.
you know,
No, they need to come
Make
down like now.
some
Before
damage.
we
So,
start getting
and
some
for that
damage.
price, you know, it's a little over $100 a tree, I guess. Plus, you know, the cost of,
This is the best time of the year to bring
They
trees
said you're
down
gonna do
too.
a 50 a tree, we can get out there, knock it out.
If I can see the trees, I mean, listen, I'm not
So do you
bonded
need-
or
I mean,
anything.
honestly-
Do you need help getting bids on those, or? 'cause
I-
it sounds like
I
something we
probably
need to
do.
soon.
I probably do.
Okay. Can you help out with getting?
Yes.
What we doing, what, for tree removal?
Well, I would say
Trimming.
for trimming of the 176 trees, because that's the bulk of that 8840
And we got
Because
this
the
quote-
removal
we got
of-
this quote from him.
Pinnacle. Okay.
Hers is,
the
yeah,
current.
currently from
Um,
Pinnacle.
Tree
Okay.
trimming is best done before leaf on, so that's not something you want to delay
Right,
into the spring.
no,
Tree trimming's best done
She's
during
got some-
during the dormant.
You got
definitely
some
before March.
landscaping contracts
Okay,
or
so
contacts.
tree
so-
trimming is now, is what you're telling me?
Yeah, we got
Now
before
it's-
leaf out.
right.
Okay.
I mean, the money's already there and approved, so if you get a better quote and you're like, we're gonna pull the trigger on this, I just
Do it.
So
wouldn't,
tree
let's not write a
trimming
check to a
And
contractor before they
removals,
show
or
up.
just tree trimming?
just
Or
tree
both?
trimming, because
For
the,
now.
I mean, the removal, for the cost of removing those trees, I mean, I think that's a pretty good price. That's
Yeah, but
a
it-
little over $100 a
But
tree.
the people that are gonna come in and trim the trees, it's gonna be more efficient for them to remove them and trim them.
That's what I'm saying, do we
So
get a
you-
quote for both?
I think you just wanna
I would say-
show them everything.
Pull a
Oh.
quote for both, right?
Okay.
So that you're
Got you.
in for
So we
bid,
don't
whatever.
want to go ahead and at this point say, remove the 11 trees
I say,
that are
let's-
currently a potential,
I think we need to, if we can get somebody out there this week to get it done, because we're gonna split the job then, we're gonna basically, then now you're down to, you need 1,400, so you need $7,400 worth of tree trim, you know, we're splitting the job out, they're already out here. If we can get somebody out there this week to just look at it and say,
Give us a bid.
yay or nay, even if it's just one company comes out, and if they walk out and they go, yeah, we can knock this out for 12 grand, and you say, look, we've got a quote for 8 grand, and the guy goes, I'll do it for 8, awesome. If he says,
No way.
take him and run with it, well, then we call Pinnacle and we say, come out and start cutting, hopefully
Right.
within the next week or two here.
Yeah, I think you'd wanna move on it
I
before
think
the end of
someone
January.
actually, posted the name of a company on our Facebook page.
Which one, ours or the Friends?
And if
I
there's
think it's the Friends.
anybody in our community who cuts trees for a living, maybe they wanna call and be like, hey, just to let you know, cause I mean, that's how
Post
we
it
got our
on there.
roofing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
this
we
would be
could
the
post it
time-
on there.
This would be the time to
I
jump
don't
on
think we
it.
have someone that does trees that's on the general,
It might pop
like,
up all of a
people in the
sudden.
neighborhood.
Oh,
list.
yeah, the regular. So let's,
Preferred vendor list.
so hopefully we can get that in the next couple weeks here, moving, get some trees
Well,
down.
I mean, I guess as soon as possible, right?
Yep. Um,
So then
Reserves.
also if, you know, do we wanna replace those trees?
let's get them down first.
Get 'em
and then
down.
we'll figure it
Okay.
out
And
from
then we can-
there. Yeah.
Because I
Well-
do have pricing on that as well.
Are, where are they? Are they around the townhomes or are they in that wooded area?
Between Harrisburg Road and the townhomes fence.
Yeah, I'm confused when
I'm
you
having
say
a
On
hard
here,
time.
okay, so
I'm
in
having a hard
between the
time.
townhome entrance and the other main entrance.
Running along the front road?
Yeah.
Road, those are
Talking about the-
natural trees. I ain't putting,
I like
I ain't
it.
paying to plant a single one of those.
Yeah, are you talking about the wood line, or are you talking about the decorative trees that are along that fence, like the green trees that look like evergreens and stuff?
No, I'm not talking about
Talking about
those.
like
it's
the
just
little,
the wood
talking about
line.
like the little wooded area,
Yeah, wooded
that's like a
area, yeah.
natural wooded
Yes.
area? Oh, yeah, if those come down, they come down. In
Okay,
fact-
so then,
No, no,
Well,
I
those don't
still
even
think
on
we have to take them
property.
down, but we don't have to.
No, no,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm saying, if they
take 'em
come,
down,
that's what I'm
or something,
saying,
put
take them
something up
down,
there.
yeah,
Okay.
take them down is
Woods.
fine, but we don't
Okay.
need to rebuild the woods.
No.
But are they even on the property, or are they city
Yeah, we own
property?
to the road.
There's, yeah, no, they're ours. We
Well,
have everything out to the
we
road.
own within 10 feet or whatever.
Yeah, they've got easement, but I mean, yeah.
so, and I've also, I actually invited a couple of people to, you know, that have posted a lot of things on Facebook and voiced their frustration, invited them over to my house to say, come on over, let's talk about it, let me see if I can explain, and let's see if we can come up with, you know, a better way to communicate with one another. And actually, there's Melissa Hicks, who I spent probably about 2 hours talking to her, and she's actually gonna help me. And there's another woman in the townhomes area that they're just gonna help communicate with me every time the landscapers come to make sure.
As the landscape czar, you have complete authority to recruit as many members of the landscape committee as you
Well,
want
I
to.
mean, the problem is, like, I can't inspect every
No,
single
right, no,
area
and you
every
shouldn't have
week,
to.
and
You-
if I, you know, and I know that we shouldn't have to do that, you know, but it is what it is at this point, and, you know, I think if we stay on top of them, then hopefully they'll, you know, they'll get the hint, which I think they are getting the hint.
No, I think it is our responsibility to make sure that the contractor performs up to expectation. So,
Right.
if, to the point that you need help doing it, recruit the help or.
Yeah, and,
yeah,
and
we'll
I think
figure it out.
that's been going really well, and, you know, if anybody else wants to get involved, I'm more than happy to share my phone number and.
Ooh, I wouldn't do that. I'm concerned enough that you invited him to your house and I live across the street.
Why? It's just conversation. I mean, we have to work together, you know,
You're right.
and, you know, I want to be able to communicate effectively with everybody, so, but I think that's been really helpful because she communicates with me via text and kind of lets, you know, I'll let her know, hey, the landscapers are coming on this date. She'll, you know, walk around her street and make sure that everything that they said they were going to do has been completed, which is very helpful to me.
Kind of your eyes
Right.
and ears over there. Cool.
So, but that's pretty much it.
All right. Let's get the
And-
trash out. Wait, you got more? Before we get to trash.
What did we decide on the shrubs? Oh, we needed to figure out which ones.
You've got $1,200 on
Yeah,
it.
you got
Okay.
$1,200 to spend on shrubs. What's your budget?
Okay.
And we will figure out what we're gonna do on flowers after we talk with the landscape
Right,
Mark.
okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If we can't, right now, can't get the painting, can we at least get the ceiling, the concrete stuff?
That is this. She's talking about the townhome stuff in general. Might as well let's talk about just townhome maintenance and stuff in general. So we have a certain chunk of money this year to be spent on some townhome related projects.
We
What was that in
do,
reserves?
we have 10,000 on miscellaneous maintenance. Let me pull the reserve and see what we've got scheduled for reserves.
So the
reserve
reserves, we've got
expenditures.
certain expenditures that need to come out or can come out. We don't have to spend it, but for instance, the blacktopping and the paving and everything through the townhome areas that we own. If something needs done on that, if we've got, they may say we've got $20,000 to use that year. Well, if we go through and look and we're like, there's no issues, we don't have to spend that 20,000, which could mean we can either leave it in reserves or we can use a little bit of that money to take care of some other projects that maybe are a little more upfront and need taken care of. So ceiling things and painting and stuff. I want to say that we've talked about there was room in the budget this year to fiddle with that.
The shutters are budgeted for this year, so either painting or replacing shutters depending on what the townhomes, individual townhomes needed.
The townhomes pay the same amount of dues as the houses?
No.
No, they pay a lot more.
Pay about $1,500 and something a year, if I remember correctly. Versus the, what are we at?
155
But you know,
every
on the other
3
map,
months.
it also
Yeah,
shows,
townhomes are
like,
150
in
every
the-
month, we're 155 every
Oh.
quarter for the
Really?
single family homes.
Right up here.
Just out of curiosity, what is, for the townhomes that come up with you, what is that covering?
Landscaping? The, any exterior issues with the homes themselves as far as if we walk up and touch it, but it isn't a piece of glass, that has to be replaced or taken care of. What else is it? It's over there in the townhome areas. Trash removal.
That's pretty much it.
Pretty much-
Trash,
I want to say that's pretty much
landscaping,
it. Trash,
exterior.
landscaping, exteriors, and then reserves.
Right.
The reserves with townhomes are obviously a huge thing because roofs need to be replaced eventually, siding needs to be replaced. So the reserves are a big chunk.
Walls, trims,
And
paint,
apparently when you
finishes,
live there, you can
32,000.
do better than if you lived there early. 'Cause
Walls,
if you're there when you have to replace your roof, you're not paying
finishes,
anything.
Walls,
But all the previous owners have been paying up for that replacement.
So walls, trims,
Paint,
paint, and
and finishes.
finishes, $32,000
$32,000.
slated for that. So we've got room to wiggle with that, trying to get that done this year. We've got money that's set aside for it, barring any catastrophic failures in the budget.
Was there a specific ceiling that you were talking about that you're having?
Well,
an
you
issue
know, my
with?
townhouse has the long wooded window that goes from top to bottom.
The bay windows?
Yeah, it's the great big, it's not the actual bay windows, it just, the ones that go straight down.
Just the big
Oh,
long
okay,
one?
All the
okay.
way down from the top floor all the way down to the bottom where the edges are. And just right there where they seal them, you know, it's just worn. You can see the cracks in it. And I can do without painting it, because it's seal it.
Yeah, no, they need to, what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna have to bring in a paint company, get a couple bids and just see who can come in. Cause they'll need to go through, clean, scrape, finish, and then go back and paint them properly.
Pressure washing makes it worse.
Yeah, and that's the worst part, is the first thing you have to do, probably what it is, when they pressure wash, it knocks away some of the old, and it exposes through the dirt.
Yeah.
The problems, you're like, oh my god, this looks terrible now, so, and that's part of it too, we have to get somebody, they have to come in, they have to clean them first, and they gotta go through, scrape them.
Well, and if she's got the problem, other people probably have it too.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's-
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we know.
For
It's time to
economies of
maintenance.
scale, we do the property wide, or
Yeah.
whatever we can cover with the 32,000 we have in the reserve expenditures to do, so.
So you need bids on what? Is that gonna be A&G or that's gonna be?
No, we'll have to get some separate companies for that, so we can get a couple paint companies to
So
come in and
paint
bid
and
that out.
caulking?
They're gonna have to come in, clean, so there's gonna be some pressure washing involved, they're gonna have to go through and scrape and clean off the caulking, and they're gonna have to come back and re-caulk and seal and then paint. It'll be a big deal. It's
Call
gonna be a big
Certapro, if
project.
they send out the wrong guy like they did in my house, you save a ton of money.
What's
Really?
that? What'd you say?
Call Certapro, because they send out the new guy, it'll be way cheaper than it should be. We save like $2,500 on our painting over every other bid.
Nice.
It's called what?
Certapro painters.
Go ahead.
It'll be, I don't know, you want to take on some of that? Is that what you're asking, or?
No, I just wanna say, is AMG gonna do that? Can
No,
AMG, or we gotta do it? That's what I'm asking.
We can.
No, I'm
ask
saying
them
if we
to
do it, we can do it, me and her can do it, but I wanted to know who's gonna put on my task sheet. So what did you want? I mean, cause I wanted to see if that's something that we were gonna do.
That's more of a
Now.
springtime thing. I don't think that's something we're gonna do right this second, is
So
it?
it's gonna be springtime,
And we can start looking for,
March?
yeah, I guess we
start
might
looking
as
for
well start
companies
looking
now.
for companies.
And
All right,
then
I'll
say
look
it'd
for,
be
I'll
some-
look for a company.
It'd be good if we could make a decision at our March meeting,
Yeah,
so we
All
need
right,
to get
Oh,
those
so
bids
make
ready.
sure you bring the bids in March,
yeah. I'll get a company to come out and bid
including the
one.
trees or no now? Trees are now?
The trees are now, that's an
Okay.
immediate, you've already
Trees
got
are
that
now.
slated.
Okay,
I'll go out and find one bid for one paint company if somebody else can
And
help
then
out.
I'll do
with it.
another one.
and then I'll do one.
Okay, so that'll be 3 companies, we'll bring in from 3 separate board members, so that'll.
So pressure washing the windows, seals, and painting, and caulking.
Now, we've got another 20 grand, but that's across the property for the retaining wall inspection, the masonry, and any wood work that needs to be done on those retaining walls that we have down in the
ravine
collection
down there.
areas in the ravines. So we did say we probably wanna have that inspected sometime this year. That's nothing, but we've got 50 grand to spend from reserves this year, 32,000 of which are for the town.
All right. Let's try and think if there's anything else. Let's talk about, while we're talking about townhomes, let's discuss the trash issue. So, for the record, let's be very clear.
Okay.
We hired a trash company to come in and collect the trash. We hired the best company we could choose based upon the fact that so many people in the neighborhood had Carolina Disposal, and Carolina Disposal was a well-known, very reputable company that picks up the trash. Several board members have used Carolina Disposal for years. People in the community have used them. I don't have them as my own company, so I wasn't picking somebody I like. We brought them in, we bid the contract. We currently pay them somewhere around, I probably have it in my notes here, because I wanted to make, I made
It won't be solvent.
a little video where I talked about this the other day, and there's been a few people who've watched
Watching this
it.
says go watch my 20-minute
Yeah,
video.
go watch it was an 8-minute video on that one. I was like, it's an 8-minute video. So currently, we're dropping somewhere around $615.88 a month to have the trash picked up for 64 townhomes. That is $7,390.56 per year, somewhere in
This is-
there,
We budgeted 8,000
for trash.
I'm sorry, no, we budgeted 6,600 for trash.
Probably based off of our original numbers.
Okay, no, I'm sorry, I'm telling you what the 2018 number was, I can tell you what the
Does
2018.
that sound like 2018?
Yeah.
2019? This trash removal is $7,080, which we got budgeted, right?
$7,000.80.
Yeah, $7,000.80. So we're actually a little under budgeted for what we have set up right now. I don't know how we missed that, but probably the 88 cents got us or something. So,
Okay.
or it could be that there was, I don't know. So anyways, $7,390.56 per year is what it's gonna cost us for trash removal under our current contract. I reached out to Active Waste 2 weeks ago when I reached out to all the board members and I said, I may need to fire our current trash company. We could possibly endure some sort of, as funny as it would sound, they could try to defend their contract and force us to pay. And I needed the board's backing before I would just go in and send them a letter saying, hey, you're fired. I don't care about your contract. Tear it up. It's worth nothing. You didn't meet the needs of the community. I collected up some dates from people as best I could, though I have some people who are like, they haven't picked up the trash in 2 weeks. And I'm like, it just got picked up a week ago. So I need real dates. So I got all that together as best I could. I contacted Active, who does my own trash service and does a great job, 2 weeks ago. And I said, can you give me a quote? And the guy said, yeah, I could probably get it today or tomorrow. And I said, that sounds awesome. Today I called and said, hey, can I get that quote? And they said, we'll send it over. I can't be sure when you'll get it. And the reason is they're all getting flooded with all the people quitting, so they really don't need business right now. So that's kind of tough. I reached out to Value Waste, who's new to the community, and he's like, I am only accepting people within a certain area. He quoted me $16,896 per year. That is $9,505. Divide that up amongst the number of homes in the neighborhood. That's $32.45. Everybody's got to have their dues raised, and that includes the single-family homes who won't get a single bit of their trash picked up. So we would have to raise the dues again to afford this new company. So that's exactly the reaction. So that's why we're in a conundrum of, I can't get one company to call me back. I'm having a hard time getting these trash companies to call me back because they're all getting a lot of business right now because Carolina was a pretty well-established company, and as they've lost business, other businesses, they're picking business up so fast that they don't want to overgrow their businesses. So I'm having a hard time getting them back. In the meantime, I've been in constant contact with Carolina Disposal trying to reach out. Now the problem is I can't get a hold of Tabitha in the office anymore. I don't care what you want to say. You get her on the phone. Good luck to you. I cannot get them
I
on
don't
the
blame
phone.
her for not answering.
Yeah,
the phone.
their
Would you answer the
voicemail is
phone given what
full,
they got going
their
on?
email is
That neighbor was
full,
complaining
they're not
this morning,
answering.
they
Yeah.
couldn't get him on the phone.
Do
I
whatever
was
you want.
like,
And somebody's like, why don't we drive down there? It's like, yeah, swing by their P.O. box and see if they're
Right.
waiting for you. Unless you want to do a stakeout, they'll come get the mail eventually. That's how I would do a normal investigation, but I don't have time to sit on their P.O. box, so I have nothing I can do there. The hardest thing, I've got the owner's phone number. I'm just shy of giving his personal phone number out to the world. But I've got the owner's phone number. He has responded to my texts, but not very quickly. Because again, I mean, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what their issue is.
I've never seen a company tank like that. I had them for 6 years, they were fine. The last 6 months, they've just completely, it's like they're not the same company.
It's the son.
Yep.
It's the
I reached
son.
out to the
dad retired, it's the son.
Yep. Yeah, the dad, this is a third generation company. Grandpa owned it.
This is the last generation.
Yeah, then
The
dad
last
owned
one.
it. They turned, now the son has it. I think that's when they changed their name over to Carolina Disposal from STS, is when the son took it over. And I don't know what he's doing with the money. He says today, I messaged him today at 1:40 p.m. and I said, can you confirm trucks will be in Almond Glen today? Only one pickup last week, which we pay for 2. I said only one pickup last week, so trash is piling up again. Also, still down 5 trucks with only 1 truck operational? Question mark, because that's what he's been saying. At 4:05, 1:40, 4:05. These are the times I'm looking at for my responses. No, 4 trucks are on the road. We'll be there tomorrow. That's my response. There's no, I'm sorry about that. They're not even apologizing anymore. They're just like, you know, I almost think they're at the point now where like, hire somebody else, what are you gonna do? So, I said, okay, I'll update the townhomes, and I put out a message on Facebook saying, hey, everybody, it's supposed to be here tomorrow, I hope it works. So I'm in a conundrum. We are struggling because I paid Value Waste $400 to come through and pick up the trash a couple weeks ago. One time. That was $400 that I had to spend out of money we don't have to get the trash picked up once. So we're in a conundrum with the trash. So for anybody who says, I don't know why you guys still have them, I don't have anybody else, I don't have anybody to bring to the board and say, hey, I got a contract of some sort, nobody will give me a bid. So I know Signature was a company. One of the things we run into too is a lot of people don't want to do individual pickup. The pickup service that we got rid of the dumpsters and went to this, what they call valet service, that's been better for a lot of town owners, for people who remember how bad the dumpsters were. It's you know, people who live right around the dumpsters don't want them back. The people who didn't live near the dumpsters don't want it near their house, because one guy kept pushing me on the dumpsters. Was like, well, just mark off a spot where I can put it by your house. And he's like, no, put it back where they were. I'm like, right. So, but the problem is we are quickly coming down to a point where if Carolina doesn't hopefully lose enough business that they can get back in and pick up our trash on time, we may have to go back to the dumpsters, because at least I could probably get a dumpster service to come in. But they weren't very good about pickups either. If you guys remember, we had problems with Republic and then Liberty. It's like trash pickup is just the hardest thing in the world around here.
Well, they should have a lot of free time coming up. I called Active Waste today just to get a new recycling bin. She's like, oh yeah, we're swamped, but we're always in your neighborhood dropping off more bins, so you might have one this week.
I'm kind of hoping that Carolina just loses so much business that they kind of regroup their company and come back in, but I don't know right now. So it's a to be continued, I guess, the best thing I can say on trash. I've been trying to update people as best I can. I've spent so much of my time trying to keep up on the trash guys and calling them and leaving messages and telling them that, you know, we can break the contract at any time. I don't know if he's got attorneys and the money to pay attorney. I can imagine he has the money to pay attorney. He can't pay his mechanic, apparently. So I think we can break the contract if we need to, but I need somebody to go to. So
Active Waste still haven't gotten back with me.
yeah, I even talked to one of the guys in the neighborhood. I was like, you want to go ahead and start up a trash company together? You know, we want to go. I've talked to actually a couple people.
My
Yeah.
husband was late. I was
Patrick called me.
Yeah, Patrick called you.
I was like, be careful, Patrick. I understand the
I
costs
was
are
like,
going
oh
up.
no.
So that's the trash issue. Any questions on trash from anybody here? I think everybody gets it. It's just, it
I
sucks.
got 4 trash
Yeah,
cans in
it's,
the back
and
of
it's,
my
honestly,
right
Rob,
now.
it's no
Liberty
different
won't come pick up
for
theirs.
a
I
personal
got 2 from Active Waste.
account than
And
it
I got one
is for
from-
community. You're not experiencing anything, the rest of us as
They're sitting
individuals
in the
that
back
had
of my-
Carolina
in the corner of
as
my
business.
house. There's 4
I
trash
called
cans
them,
I got.
the last time they picked up it was 10 days before Christmas. They didn't come at Christmas, they came December 26th, and the next time they picked up was last Tuesday. And I called them several times, we'll be out tomorrow, they never were. Finally, they quit taking phone calls, finally it was via email, I finally wrote them an exasperated, well-worded, but polite email saying, out of my, and take your with you. And they did, but they finally came, picked up the trash final time last Tuesday. They still haven't come and taken their canisters. I went to Active, now Active, they were like that for me, but I'm an individual, I'm not
Right.
this, I'm not
You're one
a
route.
community account. But yeah, Active dropped my canisters off the next day and was even kind enough to pick up the trash out of the Carolina bins on this Friday because I didn't have their bins yet. So,
There's
Active
been a-
would be a good company, I just don't know if they want the business or not.
Well, and I think a lot of it too, you know, I've had people ask me like, one person said, hey, can we get together with the people who already have Carolina in our neighbor, or already have Active or Signature, one of these other companies, and kind of merge together? And I'm like, no, because one, the reason we get the bid that we get is because we have 64 townhomes, one bill, invoice it out, and we pay the bill. And we pay it so well on time that Ashley I was like, don't pay, and she's like, I already did, because we already have it paying. You know, I'm like, well, don't stop doing what you're doing. That's what we're supposed to do. I should have thought of it sooner. So we're not paying them anymore until we see better service. But we pay our bills, and we pay our bills in time. So that's one of the reasons. And I can't get us on board with other people in the neighborhood who have individual invoices and their own service, and you could quit tomorrow. We contract. So there's reasons for a business point of view why they go, okay, I'll give you a better rate. And I can go back, if I could get some numbers from some companies, I could go back to Value, because he was basically asking for an opportunity to rebid if the price is too high.
Value, you said?
That was Value, yeah. And he's a newer company, he seems like a nice guy and everything, I think we could probably work with him, but I don't know how far down from that price we're coming, because they were also talking about 1 time a week pickup instead of 2 times a week, and we may lose the recycling that we're paying extra, you know, it's, because that was all built into our charge. We have bulk rate pickup included with Carolina, which was nice, so if we could, the best case scenario for us would be if Carolina gets everything together, fixes their problems, and then we could start to say, hey, we had that hiccup, you guys remember Trashgate in 2018, early 2019, and we moved past it. So
What's
that's,
the budget, 8,000
$8,000 for
a year?
townhome trash pickup, yes.
yeah.
And that's how many times a week?
That's a 2-time week pickup with recycling and bulk pickup. And we've already spent some of that, so. It's about $615 per month is all we can offer anybody under our current budget.
Do they definitely have to have the 2 times a week, or can they get, someone posted online
No.
that he would asked if they could have 1 time a week and then matching trash cans that were bigger. It just got posted.
The matching trash can thing, that would be, that's part of it too, is if a company says, okay, I gotta bring in trash cans, then they want more money because they're investing the money in those trash cans. So they gotta make that money back of those. So when we did it where everybody in the townhomes had the ability to, you know, put their own trash can up to this size out, because some townhomes only needed a smaller can because they live alone, other people have a full household over there. I mean, those are nice sized townhomes, they're not, you know, 800 square foot bedrooms.
Yeah, but twice a week's an awful lot. I mean, we have a house.
They also don't have any place to store the trash, that was the thing, they don't have garages or anything, they have to put it behind their homes, and, you know, they're putting it in these, and they can't have a big can either, like 96 gallon cans we've got, they're only allowed to have was up to 45?
30.
I think it's 45 is what you're allowed to have, but you know, the average person goes out and buys a 40-gallon can. So you know, there's so many issues. Yeah, there's a lot of logistics. That was one of the things about moving from the dumpster service. There's logistically, you know, some of them are positioned where they are. The trash is behind their home, and they have to bring it through their home somehow. So there's stuff they have to coordinate with that. So yeah, it was an issue we revisited years ago, and then we came back to, and it's been better on the overall, but not perfect. So that takes care of trash for now. We'll revisit it. Landscaping issues have been talked about. We talked about mostly townhomes. Real quickly, the new homes are getting ready to start working on the first of the new homes. I'm gonna send out an email blast letting people know that that's gonna start, so you might get some questions. I know there's construction going on Kilchurn. They're gonna build one of the homes first, see how that one goes, work on sale of it. One of the things that I'm gonna address with people and I'm gonna remind people of, he's gonna put a dumpster bin thing out there. Terrible timing for him, I feel bad. He has every right.
Bet that
to
one gets filled up
Yeah,
quick.
he has every right to go through that trash, find your bill or find your bills in there or something like that, or catch you putting trash out there, and to come after you if you put trash in his container. That costs him money. So please remind the community, they're a guest within our community, building a home that we need built. So let's treat them right and not fill up his trash.
So he was able to get the lot stability.
Yeah,
And where are they being built?
Kilchurn, there's
Down
2
in
empty
Kilchurn, the
lots.
2 empty lots, the curve in Kilchurn.
Yeah, if you start down Kilchurn in the bend, you can see
What was
them.
the construction date? It's already,
Said about 10 days out, and that was from yesterday, so we're within the next 2 weeks here.
concrete going down.
Huh?
It's concrete going down.
It's a good question. I need to talk with him about that too. That means obviously we get the sidewalk put
Right,
in.
yeah,
the
the
concrete.
sidewalk and up by
Yeah.
the pool. Yeah.
That was part of the deal.
Yeah, I was walking down there the other day, there's no concrete, I can't believe it. I've gotta walk 35 feet on grass.
70 feet.
70 feet on grass.
That was rough, wasn't it?
It's absolutely terrible, my dog hates it.
Across the
He
nature
doesn't
trail?
wanna get his balls on the grass.
All right, the Sydney Nature Trail is a dream gone, all right?
What are they digging for?
Yeah, we did that
What's
last
that?
week.
What are they digging for?
In front of the townhomes?
Oh, that's
Oh,
good power up
That's,
there.
yeah, that's the power company.
Good question. We'd like to know too.
That's why they have the counters down on the road too, down by the traffic light. So they're gonna have to expand the roads, especially trying to sell that property that's right by the roundabout.
Yeah, I would think eventually that road.
So
needs to be
it's gonna end
widened.
up being a whole new traffic pattern here probably in the next couple of years.
I think we need to be proactive on that, and not allow a highway to end up on Harrisburg Road to be a highway.
I think what they'll end up
Maybe
doing.
I don't think they have
this is-
space.
Yeah, they don't have space for that, but I think eventually they'll widen it out. It'll have to be. There's just so much traffic flow coming through there. And it's a main artery going into Indian Land. I mean, they tried to do the town thing and that didn't pass thankfully, but I think eventually you're just gonna have to add some expansion down through there.
They're digging on the property, at the, those trenches at the back of those townhomes, as you
Yeah.
first turn in.
That's their easement. They can
And
break
they've
it
got
down.
our mailboxes blue, where you dig.
Oh, you talking about where they've outlined the wires and the power and everything?
Yeah, and they dug trenches and buried.
Yeah, it's
Maybe internet.
something with, yeah,
Google
it's
Fiber.
Duke and they won't, I mean, you go out there and ask them, they'll probably be like, bye. They don't care to talk to us.
Yeah, that is their right of way.
Yeah, they've got right of ways and easements and we don't have any
Because
control.
actually, they did it New Year's Day.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. I know,
They have
I
made
think
a
a
mess of the
Spectrum was
road
out
out there.
getting ready to dig up the yard that goes between my house and my neighbor the other day and I was like, I saw the blue lines painted and everything. I was like, well,
Maybe it was.
because my wife started in about, what if they damage our driveway or something? Because we had that years ago in another house where they came through one day and they dug up my driveway and then they came back and poured a different color asphalt. My wife was like, what can we do about that? And I was like, this. You can sit there and wave your arm in an angry manner and they can do whatever they want. And if they want, they can take your land because, what is it? Eminent domain.
Eminent domain.
Yeah. It's just
Yep.
seize it
They
from.
can take it anytime they want to.
All right, the pool, real quickly, so, I'm not replaced Aquatech.
Did they end up paying the fine?
Yes, yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So first and foremost, let's talk about Aquatech, forgot about that. So for anybody who doesn't know, Aquatech managed to mess up so badly last year that DHEC hit us with a $2,040 fine, which, a little Amanglen symbol. So it makes it in everything. So Amanglen Owners Association billed Aquatech $2,040. They paid it. So we got our money back from Aquatech. I talked with Mike Millay today, which Mike used to be our manager, and then he's moved up the ranks and everything, and he's like the number 2 guy over at Aquatech. We were prepared to terminate Aquatech. However, it's just as difficult to get a vendor for pools as it is to get anything else. And I always like the opportunity to try to work with somebody. So I talked with Aquatech, we voiced our problems with the pool last year, and I pointed out to Mike that, you know, somebody somewhere at DHEC put an asterisk beside Amanglen Owners Association. I promise you, you're gonna be on us. It's just, I mean, think about it. If you get pulled over by the police and get a ticket and you've got an attitude, they're gonna put a little asterisk beside your name in the computer system. It's gonna remind us.
Let me write
So that's
that
gonna be
down. I
bad.
never
I
knew
know
that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you see?
You're gonna make it. We put notes on
How
your
many
phone.
asterisks I have? They probably had to open it. They probably had to start a whole new line of just asterisks.
If the police have to respond out to your house and somebody inside your house threatens
Oh,
to kill
yeah,
every
yeah,
cop
you
with a
gonna get
gun,
star.
oh yeah, you're getting stars. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
putting an asterisk on you. So
Yeah.
that's the same thing with them. I was like, I know that they're going to
Mm-hmm.
asterisk us. They're going to be watching us. So I sent out an email today. Mike is CC'd on it. Our area manager is the primary that I sent it to. Tell him, hey, I want to have a sit down in the next week or two here, 20, 30 minutes, cup of coffee or some lunch or something, and let's talk about the plan going forward into this next year. Mike is going to basically they sit down with the area manager and they're like, if you mess this up this year, you're fired. So you're going to be on a very tight leash. But AJ is going to be on he's on double secret probation. It's going to be very well known double secret probation. So we're going to sit down with AJ and be like, here's our expectations. And I gave him a laundry list of these are the things I want to discuss. And then I threw one at the bottom of, and anything else you think we should talk about. I promise you there is something else that we should talk about that I didn't think of. If the kid can't bring that to the table, I'm going to point that as a failing right there. You know, you don't ever walk into a meeting where they're like, anything you think's important. You're like, I got nothing. So hopefully he's going to come to the table with, yeah, I was also thinking this for the year or something. What I told Mike today was my goal is to basically give him everything he needs up front. If you need a shovel, if you need a blower, a leaf blower, whatever it is, we want to make sure you have every tool you need so that if he falls on his face, it's all his fault. It's not our fault with Aquatech. So that'll be our going forward this year. So we'll outline some stuff with Aquatech.
Our contract's still 15,000,
Yeah, nothing's changed in the contract.
That's what we're budgeting.
And that's part of what I wanted to talk about was like our pool hours for this year. When are we going to open and close so I can announce that to the neighborhood? I want to get that. I mean, when did we open? Sometime in May last year and it's too cold to swim.
Yep, but still, keep that same.
Yeah,
opening.
we'll shoot for
Yeah.
that time frame,
Yeah.
but, you know. just 'cause
Everybody,
this will be the
everybody
80th summer.
appreciated the earlier opening and the
Opening,
later.
later close.
Yeah,
Yep.
I did hear good things about that.
So we'll try to shoot for the same thing, but I wanted more defined. Last year, I really didn't know, like, when is the attendance supposed to be here, when are they not? So we're gonna really define that so that really what I want is I want something I can post up so people can walk in and you can look over and go, there should be an attendant here.
Right.
And let somebody know, hey, there's nobody up here, which we
Right.
can always look at. But, so we're gonna put them on double secret probation, but we're gonna hold on to Aquatech just because, man, getting somebody new in there is such a pain.
So do they do the chemicals and the repairs and
Yes.
and there's an attendant, one attendant every time?
That's why we were fined last year, is the chemicals were out of balance in the pool.
Yeah, they would come in and test, and a couple times the chemicals weren't right, or sometimes it was as simple as there's a logbook and somebody just didn't make some initials in the logbook. Stupid little stuff, nothing major, but we had a couple times where the pool was just cruddy last
Yeah.
year. We had some real frustrations with the. I'm mad when I find out that my kid's gonna go up there and swim, and it turns out there's more urine than water in the pool. You know, on a chemical level, you're like, this is disgusting. So, I get it. I'm just as mad as anybody else. So we'll really be watching this year. There's a couple people in the neighborhood who really know about pools too, who can help kind of spot check and everything. We'll go up there and we can test the chemicals ourselves. So that's also the mushrooms are gonna get done. Jason from I forgot the name of the company. He reached out to me today and said, hey, are we still wanting to do the mushrooms? We'll get those redone. And they're gonna come in and strip them and everything. Just gotta have the water lowered down. That's part of the meeting with AJ is to make sure we coordinate that, because what I don't want is to lower the water and expose the plaster for too long, let it dry out too much. So Jason said a couple day window. He's gonna look at the weather and they'll get that done.
We've got, 4,000 next year in pool repairs and upgrades and 5,000 in pool and pool house maintenance.
So we'll pull. It'll be about $1,100 probably, and I'll pull from that budget. So as soon as I can get that done, my plan is to move forward with that, and then I'll just let you know, hey, by the way, that got done.
So we've got a fob for our key, we just moved here, obviously.
Oh, congratulations, welcome.
We've got a key fob, but can I go in anytime, year round?
When the
Well-
pool's open.
Yeah, once the pool season
So-
starts from 8 a.m. until dusk, you can go up there and scan and go into the pool anytime you want.
And how do we stop it, that I don't just go in today?
Well,
Is
I
it
have the ability.
padlocked?
I have the ability to turn it off so that you.
You'd have to
So
climb
that
the
you can't
fence.
get in, because when you go up to scan, you'd scan, it wouldn't let you in. Like if you went up there right now and tried to scan in, it wouldn't let you.
Okay.
I don't always adjust that though. I mean, there's cameras up at the pool, and if you go in, you're the only person to walk in. I've had a couple people do that where I'll contact them and be like, hey, you're not supposed to be at the pool. Was there something you needed? But for the most part, we don't have any issue with it, because every time you scan in, we can see exactly who it was. that was
Oh,
in
that's
there.
nice.
And then the cameras.
Yeah, we revamped, we used to have lifeguards
Don't remind me.
full-time and they checked people in and out and everything. Last year, 2 years ago, we revamped everything and went to no lifeguards, went to this security system with cameras and live Wi-Fi and stuff like that. It was a significant savings because we spend a chunk of money on the pool. Pool and landscaping are our two largest expenditures for the year. But I think it has improved. It's extended our pool season, and it's improved the quality of people's experience at the pool, so. And I've been here 6 years and I've yet to stick a toe in that pool.
I've been twice.
2019 taxes are paid,
Yeah, that was painful.
done,
What-
paid.
What were they? What's the total?
What rate did they charge us at for the lots?
$628.56, and I have another one for $1973.85. And it's kind of hard to tell how they were done out, because they've got the Kiltron addresses
2,700.
on both of them, but yeah, I want to say, then we come up with like a $2,700 bill or something for all of. Now, we won't have that next year
The
because we got rid
Kiltron
of
ones
lots.
were like 1,200.
Yeah, they were a big chunk of it.
We budgeted taxes for this year of 2,000, so we'll be a little over, but that's because of Kiltron, so that's fine. The money that we were supposed to receive from the builder, the extra cash, have we received that?
We
got
got
the
that last year.
$2,000, yeah, last year, didn't we? And that went
Okay, I
in the
never
account.
saw that in the financials anywhere.
We got that, right?
I don't know, you said we got it, I didn't check the account.
Yeah, I dropped that off. You weren't there at the office.
Wait a minute, builder assessment. showed up $2,000
But you got
just in December.
people on the
Builders
internet
said-
saying Rob got paid $2,000.
I know, right?
No, it
It
just,
was written to the Almond Glen Owners
it
Association.
just showed up, no, it just showed up in December, I'm
It-
sorry.
it got
was-
paid,
It
yeah,
was
it
in
got
this
paid.
month's, it was in this month's.
I'm like, I did not know. I was like, people will. They'll be
Oh,
like,
yeah,
Probably
I'm about to say,
is.
yeah. I'm
we
about
still
to
got
say,
people
what?
asking
Are you
us about the
serious?
$600 in doggy bags that
Yeah,
we were clearly
no,
refunded.
no.
So I'm like, hold up.
Hey, at least someone took the time to go through it.
No,
So-
it just
and to
showed up.
clarify
So are they
on
gonna
that,
do the,
we had-
sidewalks
we had
and stuff?
2 houses that had all kinds
This
of
summer?
detrimental problems.
Would they
We were
do the
sued
concrete
along
for
with
the
the builders
houses?
to those houses.
really?
The houses were torn down, and as part of the settlement, to let us out of the whole deal and everything, we took on the properties. We then sold those properties to a developer who's gonna build homes on it. We got the equivalent of, what was it, around $11,000,
Like
$2,000 in cash, and then
8,000, but it was still a
kind.
discounted rate for the
Yeah.
concrete.
so, yeah, we're getting concrete work done. So
And we
there'll
don't have to
be-
pay taxes on them anymore.
Right, yeah. So a sidewalk section, in a section of sidewalk that was never built in the neighborhood, and some concreting done up at the pool in an area that's grass that doesn't need to be. So that's,
So the sidewalk section is on Caperton?
yes, it's on Caperton, right in front of Eric's house. That's interesting.
Hey!
How?
Yeah, the house that's right next to the
specific.
wall, they stopped
And you
building.
walk the dog, you don't have to cross.
Next to
over.
Kim Hanson's
I just
house.
walk, I just walk right through the grass. It's-
No, we
not
don't
that
walk through that
big a
grass, snakes
deal.
run through that grass.
New homes
We
and
don't
trash
walk through that
container,
grass.
okay. Let's talk real quickly, and we'll have to be very vague, because we're not gonna go into a closed session for it. Delinquencies and foreclosures. We have one home that came out of the foreclosure world and went into a payment plan. Unfortunately, did not meet that payment plan, so they are going into foreclosure again. There will be another hearing on that, and I'm sure that'll go. So eventually, we're gonna have that coming up. There's nothing we can do about that now. And honestly, we can't keep going through this, so, so that'll go forward. There was another one I had marked. It said in the report that they were waiting for something from us on that.
Waiting for,
Is it this one?
sign up.
So, I guess, how far behind, is this how much they're behind? And not responding to any kind of a payment plan or anything like that? I'm assuming they've received all the notices and all that kind of
I
stuff?
can check. I don't send the notices.
Yeah, it
but
goes
I
from
can-
them, right?
I can always check.
So, I'm gonna pass around, it's the second down, and just
Is that
ask
one
you
of the
guys.
same two from before that was on the line?
This was, I've got a full.
I mean, it has to be to get that high, so.
Our delinquency balance as of the end of December was 10,867,
Yeah.
which is right on our average.
So that home
For
that,
the year.
that we're passing around right now is showing a balance due on our latest delinquency list of $1,849.22. It is a single-family home, take into account, which means we're talking the 150 range for the last few years.
Yeah, I don't see that on
It's
the
the very-
list I've got, but
Pass that around.
the
It's the very
1,800
top
might
one.
not be the. It's a different balance. The balance I've got is January 14th. It's been updated 3 days. Yeah, the balance I've got was January 11th. Yeah, that's it.
So.
Okay.
So obviously, I don't wanna turn this into a full-on motion or anything like that. This is just part of our normal procedures and everything. Is there any reason why anybody thinks we should do anything different than other just let this go to the attorney and let them move forward with foreclosure? Hopefully what'll happen is the foreclosure process will start, they'll reach out to them and it'll be real serious then, and then they'll come up with a payment plan that they'll be willing to work with. So that's what we'll let that.
And that's
do.
20% of our balance is in one account.
I mean, that's the unfortunate side of it. I mean, we're talking, and
And
just
that's 8 plus.
without giving addresses or names, we're looking at balances owed to the association of $1,849 by one home, $1,605 owed by another home, which that's the one that's gonna go back into foreclosure, and they're gonna take the home. Single or townhome, we're looking at $1,312, a little easier to get there quicker, obviously. $960, and this is by somebody who's been through this multiple times with us. Single family home of $925, townhome $915, single family home $700. Nope. Actually, those keep showing up. Those are the old lots. What do we gotta do to get that figured
I'm
out?
gonna make sure that
Yeah, there's.
Those are Yeah, we can say those addresses because they don't exist. So
Yeah, the
61,
two
Or you
Gilchers.
can just
yeah.
put it
Yeah.
pending, cause it's gonna have to go back on, so I'm looking.
Yeah.
6173 and 6179
61,
Kilcher.
73 and 61, 79. Is there a way to like zero those for now until we get those lots back? And then we'll add them as we get the lots back or something? Whatever the best way.
We have to take, yeah.
Well, I
Figure out
paid
a way.
only 100.
What I would hate it if somebody started sending letters and they got forwarded to them saying,
My
Yeah.
husband didn't update.
or if they, worse yet, if they go to the attorney
I
and we
hope
start
they got mine
paying for attorney process.
Supposed to be coming straight on my account.
From
Last
there, it
time
drops
was
down to
not.
$605, and then $475, and then $385, and then $367,
They
and
did, yeah.
$365, $309,
There's a problem, but I think.
What's your
now-
balance?
Huh?
No,
What's your balance?
They got that.
Tell
My
me.
balance,
We got 11.
You've got 3 days.
We
new
did.
tonight.
this is, I had her give me this
This is
today.
for the one house or for overall?
These are
It's
multiple.
all separate
Now,
houses.
This is my delinquency list of unpaid dues.
And
Now,
that's the one that's on here for like January was 14,000.
is that, yeah, the delinquency, I think, it probably, is that what it says, the 14, yeah.
The
Now,
one, the.
That's all the houses in the whole
Well, that's
association
the
that's on the
balance as of
budget.
the end of December.
Yeah.
He's got a balance that's been updated for the last 15 days.
so my updated
Take into
balance,
account what she was paid.
it's this one, right?
January 1st.
Yeah, my updated balance is $22,203 owed the association. Now,
Yeah, that's because nobody,
Caveat.
all that additional amount came in because people didn't pay their January dues
Right.
on time.
I was gonna say, here's the caveat. These houses in this block right here they're multiple days or older. The rest of these pages, for the most part,
Will go
are
away.
people who haven't paid for, January 1st is when your dues are due, for the 4 millionth time. Everybody's like, I thought I had 30 days. No, you have 1 day, January 1st, you're supposed to make your payment.
Remind everybody that the companies have switched.
Right, and that's the other thing, because we upped the
notice
dues,
came out in
and there was
January.
some notices that came out
Came out
saying,
in
hey, you
December.
need to update your
Yeah,
stuff. And
yeah.
so, for instance, would be, we owed
I'll
150
see
per
you all.
quarter last
Give you
time,
information.
the new one is 155. If you don't tell your bank or whoever, because a lot of times people say, well, nobody raised it. There's a good reason why I, as the association president, can't call over to Ashley and go, hey, let's make the dues $4,000 today. Go ahead and yank that out of somebody's account. There's a reason why you have to approve it. So you have to say to your bank or whoever's taking the money, even if it's the Mutual of Omaha, which is not the HOA, that is a separate bank that they use. Even if it's Mutual of Omaha and they do an automatic deduction, you have to call them and tell them or contact them through whatever procedures they use and say, yes, I okay giving an extra $5. So if you don't do that, you end up on the delinquency list, which raises the amount, obviously.
Because
and
who
then
would forget to pay the additional $5? I mean, only those people that didn't come to the meeting and know. But I'm sure nobody on the board.
Nobody on the board.
I have an email that says it's due at the end of the month.
You have an email from who? From Ashley? She was probably giving, you were probably giving her the late fee time.
Did I
You know what?
Yeah,
I'm
late
in the
fees are
same boat
posted
she's
at the
in,
end.
so I'm not
Mention her
saying
name.
one
Or
word.
it is due by the end of the month.
I do.
Late fees.
So,
So,
First
yeah.
quarter.
Yeah.
Late fees kick in at the end of the month. It's due
As soon as I
January
got my
1st.
stuff situated, they
So,
changed
and there's a
companies.
letter that we sent out. I think you had a letter attached to that, right?
I was like,
Do you have the
It
letter?
came in the mail
Okay.
later.
And there's but yeah, they're
But it
due
is-
on the
it's a
1st of
pain.
January, the 1st of, I think it's
Yeah.
April, and then 3 months, that's when they're due.
It'll show up delinquent if you don't pay it on the first. You don't get fined unless you don't pay it by the end of the month.
Right, which is where people kind of take advantage, because we have some people that run it out to the end of the month. Now, all of our bills from the HOA are due at the beginning of the month. So-
That's why we have to carry a cash reserve.
Yeah, that's why we carry money.
So what do we do about all the people that didn't pay? What is?
We shoot them in the street at the end of the month.
There will be no shootings of anybody. Well, what we do is, so the first thing, and that's a good question, so the first thing that happens is,
No, it's all funny, but that's a lot of money.
yeah, it's a lot of money, and we actually carry a very low balance for overall
On
for
average.
HOAs. Our average is extremely low across the nation.
Anything less than $10,000 is considered extremely good.
We're in usually the, like 5 to 6% range as far as actual delinquencies.
tell them what it was when
Um,
you first got it.
It was like, what was it,
27,000.
27%? And I went around knocking people's doors until one guy actually said, I wanna make sure I'm paid because I don't wanna rob and knock on my door. I was mean or anything, it's just embarrassing to have your neighbors show up and go, hey, you owe money. So initially what we do is, you know that your bill's supposed to be due on the 1st, and then you forget, let's say, you'll get a letter saying, hey, your bill was due, you forgot to pay, you now owe a $20 fee in addition to that. if you continue on, every time, if you carry the balance, so if somebody says, well, I'll just pay the bill, and I'm not paying the fee, what are they gonna do to me? You carry a balance, you get another fee. So the fees, you'll eventually end up with a much larger bill. And then if you get to a point where you're at a certain threshold, in townhomes and single family, we set it differently, we'll foreclose and take your home. What we're doing with a couple people right now. And to answer the question that one person said to me, they'll actually take my home over that? Yes. The sheriff's office will come out, they'll evict you from your home, put all your stuff on the curb. We'll feel terrible about it. I will not be happy at all because the neighborhood,
That's right.
yeah, I mean, and we've done everything we can. You got to really work to get to that phase. But for the most part, most of these, they're paying a little late. Now, one thing I do want to throw out to the board, I think we need to raise the late fee from $20 to $30. Talking with people and chatting with other neighborhoods and stuff, $20 is a pretty low late fee. And it's one of the reasons we're not getting, and I'm not going to ask you to vote on that today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw that out there, and I'm going to give time to mull on it, and then I'm going to come back to it in March and say, I'd like to raise the late fee to $30. I feel like we need to make it just a little more painful when you're late, because there's some people that are floating, especially some of our townhome owners. They're just throwing an extra 20 in the mix, and it's it's cheaper than the cable bill or whatever. Their late fees. You don't pay your gas bill. They shut your gas off. You don't pay. So we have certain things that we need to do. So I'm gonna throw that out there as a chew on it and think about it. We'll come back in March and talk about it again. But I really think $30 late fee is not a terrible. I mean, if they want to pay the late fee, let's let them pay it. But $30 instead of 20. So toss that out there. Something to chew on. Looking at this list, and I think that's part of what you have to take into consideration. We're like, it's 4 pages of people that are just paying late.
The
Some of them are
January,
late
when we
fees.
get the January financials
30
in
of
the
them
middle
are
of February,
just
that
$5.
list will be back down to probably $12,000.
And we give room, especially at the beginning of the year, we give a little play because we understand that $5. So if we look at your balance and talk with Ashley, if we look at your balance and we see that it's just the difference from last year's dues, we give a little more room. We're not going to hit you. We're going to work on you. We're going to get it straightened out.
You're
We
not
don't
gonna
want your money.
find $20
Ultimately,
or $5.
We give 50% of our late fees to AMG, so ultimately, we don't want you to pay a late fee because you're throwing cash at AMG and we're not even getting it all, so, and that's zero. That's the whole thing, so we'd rather not have to pay it. None. What else? Delinquents, got that done. They'll have to have a new hearing for the other one, and then they'll go ahead and foreclose, increase late fees. I talked about we should do that. Any other business, and then I'll end on a good note.
We've got the ARC request for the townhome that we need to talk
Let's
about.
talk about the ARC request real quick.
The who?
So we had a request from a townhome owner to build an attached screen porch onto the townhome,
Back of the town.
on the back of the
Like a-
townhome.
like a
But that would be an
screened-in porch.
exterior improvement that the HOA would then be responsible for. So, just so you guys know, there'll be a note.
No.
We're responsible for it.
It's an exterior, it'll be an exterior surface.
Can we
It'll be
get
an
a signed a waiver that says we're not
No,
responsible
can
for
we
it?
talk about that off record?
Why?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I can tell you initially going in, my response when they asked me about it, I was like, it's an exterior modification that our insurance would have to cover. I don't even know if they can waiver their way out of it, honestly,
I don't think
because
they can.
they sell the home, they'd have to, I mean, it's actually gonna hurt them in the long run. I come in to buy your house and you're like, oh, by the way, I signed a thing saying that you gotta get special coverage. I mean, it just seems like it'd be there's gotta be a good lawyer word for taking on some liability you don't want, just liable.
I mean, I,
feel like it's
without,
good
without
lawyer for
knowing
this.
all the details off the cuff, I mean, I don't think the HOA should take on the additional responsibility for that. And if we have to, if when he builds it, we have to, then I'd say we don't approve it built.
And it's-
That was kind of our
when's it gonna
response.
work?
I don't think it's
Well,
worth
and if
the
one
potential
person's gonna
risk
do
even
it,
trying to
then
do a
how many
waiver,
other
because all
people
all
are
they have
gonna
to do is
wanna-
have a new owner say, like, I didn't sign that, and
Yeah,
it's
and
part
what
of the
is it
exterior.
gonna look like?
And we don't know how it's gonna get built or who's doing it, and we're not gonna be overseeing it.
I would just,
so.
I would think that the quality of it would be okay. Who's gonna stick crap on the back of their, well, I don't know, some people.
Let's assume that it's like
But
the finest of
assume it's
builders.
nice, but it's still our responsibility to maintain it.
Right.
Well, then he wants to put his second story on it. and then a third story.
Yeah, that's
Well, it looks
exactly-
like it's just a roof and then
It's
a
a,
screen,
it's a
so
good
you won't
argument
be able
though,
to
like
build
the
a
next
whole-
guy comes along and says,
Yeah.
well, I wanna build a 2-story double, yeah, and it just
Ain't
turned,
You know, he
Yeah.
can get those, he can get
You
a,
just got to get a pop-up tent
he can
type
get a
one.
pop-up, he can get a portable one at Lowe's for about $750.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, that's tough.
I didn't immediately, I was like, man, I don't know, that's a big one. We're gonna, insurance and stuff, and we'd have to go get our insurance to cover it, and they may say, we're not gonna cover an addition. I
Good,
just,
good man coming, we're done.
Right.
I think
Or any
that's,
repairs, like if the
I don't think that's gonna make it
street
through
breaks
committee.
Right.
Anything else, architect? I didn't think about that.
Inspection date. So if we want to officially set it at the March meeting, but it'll end up being sometime at the end of March, so we can just update the board and
Can we
I'm
do it
just gonna
like,
leave it as a week, so everyone's like, oh, it's mine. It's like, I didn't come on your trash day when your trash is out front and say your trash can's
Yeah.
out.
can we do it like the
Specifically came
first?
3 times to make sure your trash wasn't out that
You
day.
need to do that first of
Yes.
April until we can get the trash thing situated.
Well, actually, I mean, we can ignore the trash thing if the trash thing's gone. Hopefully,
Yeah,
by then the
I'm
trash
not worried
thing's
about
gone.
people's trash,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's what people complain, like our trash can.
Are you gonna,
We didn't
are you
come
gonna do
around when
pressure
your trash
washing?
can was
Yeah,
out.
Because usually
exactly.
folks don't pressure wash till it's a little warm.
That's why I say
Well,
March.
this is, yeah, I don't think, remember we talked about last time, so pressure washing, we're gonna address that, sometime in the beginning and sometime at the
April,
end?
Yeah.
So, but I'm
We'll
thinking,
wait till it gets
how about the
warm.
first week of March, so that, assuming the weather's decent, so that when we go to that meeting, you can kind of come in the door going, everything was beautiful, or this looks terrible. Did that
What are you
work out?
talking about? You go around and inspect everybody's house?
Just from the road,
Make sure
so
it's
if you
clean.
have mold, green mold all over the side of your siding, or if you've got your trash cans, you just leave them out front every single day, or just any major things.
Right.
Where you got 3 cars up on blocks in the driveway.
Right, is that a thing? Is that
You
happening?
gotta
No, I'm
trailer
just in West
sitting in your
Virginia,
front
for us,
yard.
that's a normal occurrence.
Or
Matter
remember
of
that
fact,
big,
your status goes up
wasn't
in the
there like a
community, the
tractor
number of
trailer?
cars you have up.
That's
on
my
Yes.
cousin's
And like
house.
parked, on Rock
He was
Street.
parked there 3 days.
that?
Yes, tractor trailer,
Born
Yeah,
already.
the tractor trailer.
yeah,
Yeah, I had a personal conversation with him.
yeah. Get up out of
He's like, it's new. I was like, that's great.
here.
Gotta
Bye.
go. So yeah,
No, we're
first,
working out
first
junk
week or two of March before the annual meeting, or before our meeting.
It'll get posted
What
on
will
the
you,
website.
what will you
it'll
expect
be
that time of
posted
year,
on the
because it'll
board,
be
so-
too early for
Let's say-
grass and stuff.
Ellie's got the stuff to put it on the board. You could put inspection March, blah, blah, blah,
Fabulous.
week of March, blah, blah, blah. So that people all have.
Well, that's why I was gonna do it after the meeting, when there's actually stuff growing and
Yeah, I was gonna say,
going
because
on.
there's not gonna be a lot of, if you're not gonna do pressure washing, then nothing's gonna be growing. And so there's no hedging or mowing or anything like
So it
that.
should be easy for everybody.
It's gonna be just, yeah, it's gonna be just trash cans, pretty
No,
much.
it's gonna be
People,
fence.
that you should be able to catch
and
fence
houses.
issues
Fence issues,
and
yes.
repairs that need to be
Repairs.
done, shutters that are missing from
exactly.
people's homes.
That'd be perfect, yeah.
I
Don't
mean,
look at the
honestly,
faded
there's
ones, though.
nothing yard wise. It should be an easier inspection.
You hear me?
Yeah, you
Don't
shouldn't
look
have
at the
to pay any
faded
yard
shelves.
Okay.
If you hit me when I got time, I come out help you with it this time.
I got it.
Maybe sit between you
I'm
and Tim,
looking
so
for
when
somebody to
Tim
give
says
me a
something
quote on
crazy, I can be like,
Don't tell me.
I don't think you can all fit in the truck.
They are.
Off the
Yeah.
drive.
I mean,
Yeah, but you gotta
we'll
put
ride
them
around
on
together,
the
drag
Gotta
them
do
along,
it.
I guess we can do that.
Yep.
I mean,
I
there's some
know
that
what I
still, I
know.
don't think ever
Yeah.
did the pressure washing, or if it
When I had it.
got missed from before.
Oh, that you
Really,
knew
the
about.
first one was just to
No.
let everybody know, now we're gonna have to
But
start.
now-
So would you do a second
I don't know
letter
why I
for
thought they
that,
wouldn't.
or would you go straight to something here, something that a year to, they were gonna fix it?
Could you send me the list of everyone we sent the letters to,
You would
with
think
the
that.
updated spreadsheets? I'm assuming we got more since the last one, just so I can see who never responded.
All of them, correct, or?
if you do your shutters and you have to do.
I guess just open and close, so I can filter it on whether it's open or
So,
closed.
I'm gonna
Or do you
Are
have
we
it on?
not gonna get to go over the final 2018 budget where we were within $400 of our expense estimate?
Oh, we
In
should.
$181,000 expenses.
I said I wanna end on
And we were off by
positives.
$400? Do you know what kind of financial genius it takes to get to that?
That's why we still have you.
I said I want to end on positives. That's
Yeah.
Come on.
And I do want to ask you about, this is the 2019 budget. I want to make sure this is the right one, because this is what I was planning on putting
You know,
out.
I just closed it.
This was, for
Is
anybody.
it a different one?
This is the 2019 budget.
Okay.
That's why I black and whited it.
Yeah.
The color one is in
Oh.
memorandum, I guess, to your,
What's the website?
to your, amazing work. This is
That
a
was just, like I said in the email, that
nice
was the
big
blind
blown up
squirrel
version
theory.
of the 2019 budget.
Even a blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then.
just what we're.
Oh, you did good.
We're hoping to
Share,
do.
just share.
We just got lucky.
Huh?
I just got lucky on this.
That was good.
$81,000.
That's lower.
If you look, there's a lot of accounts that are way different, but it just happened that the bottom line came out the right.
So tell me if this looks right. If it doesn't,
I'll tell you if it's the right number here in about
No, 'cause we just-
35 seconds after this moves back up.
I'm gonna start counting. 1, 2,
Hey, be quiet. You got a huge landscaping budget. You better be quiet.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know, right? You better stop. Snatch some of your money. I keep telling her to be quiet.
Oh, don't worry, I'm already running the routine that deletes her budget out.
We'll come off over here
Already
before
running
we
the
go
budget.
after anything
Hey,
else.
you can have all that right there. You know what I
They
feel
throw a
like
big
that.
putting in
30
your
seconds,
plants
is that what you
party.
said?
45 is what I said.
You're gonna be crying, sure. How far are you? Even right.
Yeah, I see the landscape. This actually has the breakout on the right of tree trimming or shrubs is at 1,200. This looks like what you were quoting off. And it's got the 155.
Yes, Rob, that's the right budget.
Okay. All right, so this is the one I handed you guys, the 2019 budget in full spreadsheet form. I'm gonna put this up on the website, make sure people have access to it again. I know this is what we sent out with the letter, but it's so shrunk down with the letter, it's kinda hard to read. So you can see the money that's broke out for landscaping projects over there. You can see the assessments and how we did a raise over there, social budget and that kind of stuff. You can kind of see a breakout.
Is our website almaglen@hoa.org?
Or .com, either way, we'll get you there. Yep. AmGlenHOA.org.com. And there's a calendar on there that I added in the last year to kind of help figure out when we're having meetings and stuff, or events. Just like from 2013 to now, 5 years of Rob writing stuff on the internet. Rob's blog, as Alicia used to call it.
Yeah.
We were within $400 from last
We're
year's
at
spending.
$400 and $181,000 expenditure estimate. Now, if you look at individual accounts, I won't claim accuracy on any of those. We just got lucky last year. However, the budget for last year looked pretty good. It closed on a good note. We were a little above on revenue. We were a little below, not much, but a little below on our expenditures. And we will, after we get, usually we wait till the end of the first quarter, and then we transfer some money out of cash into reserves to bring up our reserve balance, so that we know we've got enough working capital to get through the next few months. But we should have the $77,000 to be able to transfer into reserves, probably maybe at our next
Sound like
meeting.
you stuttered, so just how much money are we transferring again?
77,000.
Right, I wanna make sure people don't think you meant to say 7,000 and you stuttered over it.
No, we want our reserve balance for this year, beginning of this year, should be $398,000.
How much
Right-
was it in
right.
2013?
It was
when we took over?
330,000.
No, in 2013 when we took over. About
Less,
50?
yeah, less than 50,000, it was 48,000.
That's where a lot of our work has gone into. I like pointing that out because it's been a lot of work to save money
Yeah,
and to put money where it
and
needs
to get our reserve balance built up, so that we have the $32,000 to spend on the townhome improvements, like we're supposed to in our reserve study. So we will sometime, probably in the March meeting, I'll ask the board to approve the transfer of the funds over into the reserve account to bring that balance up to where it needs to be, so. But anyway, 2018 did end on a good note. Like I said, we were close to being balanced. Some accounts were over, some were under. Some of that has to do with how we bill the money. Sometimes landscaping doesn't end up in landscaping, it ends up in maintenance and stuff like that. So you have to play with those numbers a little bit, but they did end up balancing out pretty good, so. The only real overrun that we had last year that bothered me were the taxes. We didn't really have much control over that. And the electricity, which jumped more than I anticipated it jumping last year. But hopefully this year we'll be back under budget.
It's all those solar panels.
It's all the solar panels, that's what it was, yeah.
I have a theory the solar panels in the neighborhood are driving up the cost from Duke. All right, so let's end on a somewhat positive note. So I want to talk about the lawsuit, and I want to be, I've talked with the attorney today, and I can be more upfront. So I called the attorney's office today, and I talked with Connor Johnson, who is our attorney representing us through State Farm. I said, hey, listen, I got a meeting tonight. I want to make sure to be able to go ahead and talk about it, so I can talk more freely about the lawsuit than we used to. So a lawsuit was brought against us. It can be looked up through the 6th Judicial Court, the Court of Common Pleas. For anybody who's interested, you can go to the County Legislature and you can look up case number 2018 CP 2900270. If you didn't already find it, you can go find it there. I'm not going to post any links to it or anything like that. You can find it if you'd like. The plaintiffs were two people, married couple who live in our neighborhood. They sued Eastwood Homes, Landcraft Properties, Landcraft Management, Glen, which was the name of this community before it was officially a community, Lennar, Titan Land Group, Laney Trucking and Grading, Glen Owners Association, Hoopa Grading Company, General Contractors, Incorporated Excavating. They sued all of them, and basically what's happening is there were several homes in this neighborhood that were built on areas that if you go back and look at the historical Google Maps, you can see, to include the pool as a perfect representation, on an area where they had to do a lot of fill. That fill was done terribly. We know that from the pool. We know that to be a thing. We know that to be a thing for the two homes that sued and had to be demolished, because they've now gone in and drilled 40 feet, was it, I think, to
40 feet,
get the
yeah,
pillars in before they hit solid ground. I know that to be a fact because Eastwood had to come in and tear my driveway out and put a new driveway in because we were just barely in the warranty period, and my driveway had sunk like 2 inches over a period of years. And when the guy ripped out my steps in my front porch that I had paid to put stone on and had to pay another $500 for, he took a little rod that's about a 1/4 inch and he stuck it in the dirt and ran it all the way down the ground like it's nothing. And you're not supposed to be able to do that. So I didn't know that until he showed me. It's not like I'm an expert on dirt, but he was like, "This is bad," and he pushed it down. And then he went to another area and he pushed it down 2 inches. So that's the problem. Their house is sunk, but they don't know exactly why, so they sued everybody, to include naming the homeowner association. When I read the complaint against the homeowner association, and if you never looked at lawyer stuff and everything, lawyers take really big, huge, long, complicated sentences and reference a bunch of other cases, and they basically say in a 4-page format, this is why you're in trouble. And with us, what they said was, our house is built on a piece of property that goes back a short ways and then it drops off into a ravine off Kilchurn, so that's pretty easy to figure out. It goes off into a ravine and it drops off, and our house is settling and it's having these issues, and we think it's because you didn't build a retaining wall or do something to maintain the common area that's down at the bottom of that. And I looked at the maps and I called the attorney and I was like, my argument to that is, first of all, nobody's ever said, hey, why don't you guys build a retaining wall for us? Second of all, there's no major erosion that we can see. I don't have any reports from anybody in this whole thing that says we had engineers such and such company come out and tell us that. And also, the first like 20 feet of that is their property. So they're not building a retaining wall on property, so why the heck would we build one? It doesn't make any sense. It'd be different if they built a retaining wall and the ground was sloping, now we get to build one to protect it. So that was what I said. So the attorney wrote up a very nice, like 4-page response to the judge. And he basically went and filed a motion to dismiss the case. And the funny thing is there was confusion and stuff. He forgot to notify us or something. He filed this and it went before the judge, a motion to dismiss Glen Owners Association on October 29th of 2018. And the judge signed off on that. The case was dismissed against us. They had to appeal. Nobody showed up. Nobody argued against it. It's just, man, this in court days doesn't get you every single time.
Right.
So it's dropped. It's done. There's no right to appeal. It's over with. They can anything to us. We were also sued, the funny part of this, and everybody was like, give us more. No, you had to go see it, get out yourself, because I couldn't comment on the fact trying to get some quotes, find out, are we allowed to get rid of our insurance? I don't know if we're bound to stay with our insurance company for a little longer.
Last year, we spent $23,000 on
It's
insurance.
killing us. It is killing us. The insurance, and they're getting every penny of everything we've ever claimed, so. Yeah.
Is that something MG
Yeah,
needs
and
to
for
do?
anybody who's wondering about the insurance, yeah, exactly what she said. We insure the exterior. If a townhome's burned down, this guy leaves his stove on and cooks chicken and it burns it down and everybody's house is burned down, our insurance will build the entire thing. It'll look beautiful, and when you open up the front door, there won't be a dang thing inside of it, because their insurance pays for the interior of it. So a townhome owner has to maintain insurance on everything that's inside. We maintain the insurance on the exterior, and we make sure we maintain good insurance on that. We have State Farm. They're a great company. They've covered us in all ways. It's just unfortunately we've been hurting, so we need to figure that out. So good news though. I wanted to end on a positive note. spent money wisely last year, budget's good, and we are done with the lawsuit.
But did they win the case overall? Or everything?
It's still going on.
It's still-
That'll go on for years,
For a couple of years.
unfortunately.
It's like this story.
Yeah, there's no end. It never ends. It ends for us. which is
Adjourn.
important. So yeah, meeting's adjourned, and
Thank you guys for coming.
Folks have questions
We
or
normally
anything?
don't get
Thank
a
you,
lot
guys.
of participation from the community, so we appreciate when you guys come.
Maybe for the neighborhood, want to know what's going on.
there's a lot. There's a lot.
I was looking for the social part, but we didn't discuss that.
We'll, yeah, I'm gonna end the recording, and we can, you guys will.
Talk to Virginia.
No, sir.
It gets busier as